What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to King Talk. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. Trey Smooth, Rob, Lord Sherm, Humble Dad, Viz, Hank, me, myself, on the Peep J. Welcome to King Talk. What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
What's going on, sir?
All right, good to see you, man.
What's up, fellas? What's happening?
Happy Tuesday, gentlemen. I think your mic always be way up there, man. Let me see if I can. Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Sound like it was pretty loud. Happy Tuesday,
You said
y'all.
my mic?
No, you good. You good. You good.
Okay.
All right. Shout out to the chat. Power is Knowledge TV. Sheena 711 says, single looking for a friend, just moved to Oakland. So we got any people out there in Oakland? Dina is announcing that she is single. Again, what's going on? Power is Knowledge TV. We got Dale Matthew. Brown seems to be responding. Gina, I'll be your friend. You have to travel to the Bronx at least 3 times a week on your own dime because I'm broke with kids and a wife. Hotel and food on you too. I'll be a perfect friend. See you soon. Fishing and Fit says good evening, brothers. Mr. Angela Swift is in the house as well. How you doing, Erica? And thanks again for pulling up. I think you either called in, might have been last Tuesday if I'm not mistaken. So salute to you. As you guys come in, do me a favor, hit that like button. Also make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to go ahead and get this show started, man. We're going to talk about they've killed masculinity in America. Anthony Mackie's controversial take on the manhood. We're going to go ahead and kick it off with that right away. And then I got some other clips I'm going to play on the back end. That's all tied into this whole masculinity. Sound like a plan? All right. I'm not going to go around. I may go around to a couple of people, but if I skip you, it's not intentional. So if you do want to add to the conversation, then feel free to chime in. If you got any questions or need some clarity from anybody on the panel, you can do that as well. I just want the conversation to flow a little bit better. And hopefully it's not just stagnant where we just looking around, looking to be called on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kick off with this pivot interview, which most of you guys seen. If you haven't seen it, here it is.
My boys humble. Like my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give a I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. Mm-hmm. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Hold up. Limitless. Niggas to me cap pinning it. I thought they.
All right, let's go ahead and get to it. What's going on, Brother Will? Has masculinity been killed? Has masculinity been killed? Why not? I'm gonna go ahead and start with you first, Rob. What are your thoughts about that?
I kind of figured you was coming that way. I understand elements of it. I love his passion about the topic and things like that. But for me, man, I look at what my role in it. I do agree with the fact that masculinity has been removed from some communities and things like that. But I wouldn't say they did it. I would say this was a we. you know, the decisions made by us, whether as a result of our PTSD from living in the communities in which we do, it still was our decision voluntarily in some ways to make these, for that to be removed. I also think in his point of being an actor, that, you know, Hollywood was reflecting, in a sense, something that was already being shown. So it was kind of easier to do because we were seeing it actually happen in our neighborhoods when the fathers were removed. Which was for me that moment of when masculinity really started changing in America, when fathers start coming out of the homes, to include myself. Want to out me on that. But yeah, I heard a lot of what he said. I understood him wanting to teach his sons and lay things there. And yeah, I get it. I get his points on it.
All right, I'm gonna go to you, Sherm. Has masculinity been killed? Why not?
When it comes to that, man, I'll really just say to each their own. You know, it exists in some communities. I just really feel like it just depends on where you're raised, who you are raised by, and the community that you are currently in. You know, because if we go some places in the rural South, they'll be like, hell no. But, you know, the inner city, you know, depending on, you know, the vibe, people will definitely say yes, you know, because I feel like a lot of young men these days, they are not developing the life skills that, you know, we had to deal with growing up as men, you know, like going outside, walking to school by yourself, you know, making sure a bully doesn't come beat you up, you know, dealing with fear, dealing with anger, dealing with anxiety. I feel like nowadays, you know, we protect kids way too much from what's out there, and that kind of hinders them, you know, hinders their development and how they're going to succeed on their own when they get out there themselves, you know. So for me, I'm like, man, I got to figure out ways, just due to the lifestyle that I live and where my kids are being raised at. It's like, how can I implement some type of masculine, you know, roles in them in the environment that I'm raising them in, you know, because they didn't have they will definitely not grow up with the same type of uh troubles and traumas that I've had. But I do feel like the troubles and traumas do develop you into a more resilient person. But these days I'm like, man, how can we possibly do it with, you know, instant gratification, with TikTok, with Instagram, with all of these ways where these kids could, you know, get their dopamine hit so they could feel good, you know? So I would say that there are, you know, ways where masculinity can be dumbed down a little bit, especially compared to like kids who grew up in the 80s where we actually like fell, you know, scraped our knees and didn't cry and got up and just kept it pushing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I do feel like it's that way, but you have to definitely take into consideration how you are going to develop your tribe.
All right, I'm gonna go to you, humble dad. Has masculinity been killed? Why not?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's been killed, but I definitely would say that it's under attack from the premise of you look at he's obviously in the realm of celebrityism, but in movies and TV and commercials, if you look at those things, you will see that they are trying to dumb down the role of the man. So I would say it's definitely under attack. Killed, that would mean that it's dead, and it's none that are alive. Is how I see it, and I believe that there are men that are fighting for their position, or I would say taking their position. They're not even necessarily fighting, but they have put themselves in a position to make sure that their families are taken care of, that they are doing the job that is required of them to make sure that their sons and daughters are acclimated to society. However, I do understand that uh, for me, it's a spiritual warfare, and so if you take the man out of the equation, then that means that the community can be conquered because the women and the children can be conquered. And so if you look at it from that perspective, you can't necessarily say that it's been killed, but you can definitely see that it's being under attack because the goal is to make sure that society is functioning under the government realm and not from the fatherly realm, which is from for me, I would say from a God perspective, because that's how he had it aligned, and that's to have a husband and a wife together, making sure that they are glorifying him as well as building their children to do the same. And so it is under attack, but I wouldn't say that it's been killed.
All right. I'm gonna go to you, Will. Has masculinity been killed? Why not? We can't hear you on mute. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, go to you, Hank.
All right. So your question was, has masculinity been killed?
JR, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'll wait. Go ahead, Hank.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess I kind of agree with like what Humble's dad was saying. It hasn't been killed, but it sure has took hits, a lot of hits, especially these last 10 to 15 years. And it's just unfortunate. There was a time, man, and these motherfuckers, you couldn't come out and sit there and say you gay and all of that. That shit was, you was shamed. You was taught, you couldn't walk down the street freely the way they do now. That was a problem. Now it's encouraged. I think like you see in every commercial. I just seen one. Some black dude was sweeter than June Jam, and I just shook my head. I said, man, you couldn't find no other brother, man. You just had to get this gay brother, man. And it seems like it's us, right? It seems like it's us doing it, promoting it, and pushing it. And unfortunately, they are linking up with our sisters. And the sisters are not speaking down on it. They're not against it. Most sisters encourage because that's their way of getting their testosterone fix. That's the way they get their male point of view or opinions or some type of advice from a male. Well, look, dog, I don't consider you a man anymore. Once you decide to go on the other side, you play for I don't consider you a goddamn man, or you're a woman, in my opinion. So that right there alone is hurting our masculinity. The way that we don't take pride in our appearance, that hurts our masculinity. We've come to the point of, man, it's just like we're not worried about it. We're not concerned with it. Or it's like, well, whatever, and that doesn't help us at all. But I'm gonna leave it right there.
All right, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, absolutely. Masculinity is pretty much dead. The reason why masculinity is dead primarily is because we don't have a standard for what a man is. We are so willy-nilly okay with everybody being different. Hey, you do you. To each his own. Well, guess what? If to each his own, then yeah, let him go date a man. You saying to each his own. Y'all don't want to enforce no structure. And I'm talking about this panel. I'm not just talking about society. I'm like Trev, Sherm, JR, Rob, Marcus, Kenny, Hank, Humble Dad, Viz, me. If we're not gonna at least within our own stratosphere make it uncomfortable for people to not be up to par, then shut up. I tell people a man is a lover, leader, provider, protector. If you're not all four of these pillars, you ain't a man. People get mad at me every day on Instagram because I tell fools, I'm like, you ain't a man. Give a damn what you say. Give a damn how big you are. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how many guns you got. I don't care how well you can fight. You can't be three of the pillars, two of the pillars, one of the pillars. You must be all four. And Kenny and I have had plenty of arguments about this. Kenny don't want to enforce that structure either. Kenny, I'm calling you out right now, brother. but not just you, calling everybody. Anybody that has a tallynackle between their legs should walk around and be able to articulate if the person is standing next to them is a man or not. And if you don't want to do that because of societal constraints, you don't want to do that because you want to be liked, you want some followers, you want some you want clickbait, you want you want to be popular, you want your business to do well, then just understand you've compromised yourself. Your integrity is shot. And if you are okay with, man, look, man, it ain't my business. All right, well, cool. Then stay out of all other matters that ain't your business. Don't pick and choose. Shout out to me. What matters?
Could I
It
ask you
all
a
starts
question,
with
Will?
that. What's that?
I want to ask you a question. Do you think that there's different archetypes of a man?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so do all of those archetypes follow the same pillars, or do they have different pillars?
No, they all, because you got to think about these pillars don't mean you have this bravado. It doesn't mean you can fight. It means, I'll explain it real quick, JR, and I'll pass the mic. If you break down lover, leader, provider, protector, it's very simple. And if y'all don't agree with this, I'm like, okay, you the problem. Just gonna come out and say, you the problem. So a man is to be a provider. First and foremost, if you are a single man with no kids, you should be able to provide for yourself. If you can't provide for yourself, there's a problem. If you decide to impregnate a woman or bring a woman into your covering, you need to be able to provide for that woman. And whatever children you provide, you need to provide for them. And you don't have to make a lot of money to provide for your woman and kids. You just need to make sure your woman acquiesces to your program of what you can provide. And then don't have more kids than your money can stretch. As a protector, you don't got to be the greatest with weapons or hand-to-hand combat. You just need to put yourself between. First, you need to be able to protect yourself as best as you possibly can. But if you get a woman, you need to put yourself between her and danger. You got kids, put yourself between them and danger. That's what makes you a protector. You don't have to actually win. You just need to make sure they don't get harmed. To be a lover, you got to love and care for yourself. If you have a woman in your life, you got to love her the way she needs to be loved, not the way you want to love her. You can't be like, well, baby, the way my love is set up. Well, no, bro, then she ain't the woman for you. If you can't love her the way she needs to be loved, then why are you dealing with her? You got to love your kids the way they need. You can't be like, well, daddy, this is all daddy know. Well, daddy going to have to change. Now, I'm not saying let your kids be your puppet master, because they real good at that manipulation shit. But you got to definitely make sure you give them kids what they need. Lastly, as a leader, most dudes are afraid to tell their woman no. You got to be able to look your woman in the eye and tell her no, tell your kids no to something they want, maybe even deserve, that you have the means to provide without them losing respect for you. So how do you develop that? First, you got to learn to tell yourself no. Most dudes I know is living paycheck to paycheck. And I don't care how much money you got. If you manage your money just better, I'm not even going to say manage your money good. Just learn to manage it better. You can get out of the rat race. And if you can learn to tell yourself no and have delayed gratification, you know you got to pass that tutelage on to your offsprings. So it starts by being able to tell your woman no. And if you can tell her no, you should be able to tell your kids no, all in a way where none of them will lose respect for you. I yield. And hold on, and Sherm, every man, no matter what his archetype is, should be able to do those 4 things.
All right. Let me go ahead and go to Trev. Has masculinity been killed? Why not?
Definitely under attack. From what I understand, I remember you played portions of that clip last week, and when I first heard it, I'm like, damn, they're going to get after him for this. As soon as I heard it, I was like, damn, they go. Just because he said he wanted to be masculine, even though the way he articulated what his idea of it was, and I didn't see a damn thing wrong with it from what I heard him say, I still figured they were going to try to come after him. And they did. People just don't want to hear masculinity. So that they attach the word toxic to it. And you see a bunch of, soy boys and everything going after it. It's ridiculous. So just from him saying that and the reaction to it from a lot of individuals lets you know that masculinity is absolutely under attack. I I spoke about this a couple weeks ago on a podcast. We were talking about how if you appear to be masculine or you want to promote masculinity, you are demonized. They want to castrate you. You want to do anything possible in order for you to not be masculine. But a lot of people just don't understand what masculine actually means. It doesn't mean that we're out here beating our chest or trying to bully anybody. Masculinity is protecting your family. Masculinity is doing things in your community. Masculinity is understanding duty and executing it. And once people understand what that is, I don't think that most people would have a problem with it, right? Being a man, there's nothing wrong with being a solid man. And that's what we mean when we're talking about masculinity, being able to do what's right, being able to avoid temptations, being strong in your group, in your families, in your community. That's what masculinity is. And that's what we are promoting. And that's what most, if not every one of these gentlemen on the panel all promote in one way or another, right? And that's what we all strive to be. So we just going to keep doing what we do. We're going to keep spreading the word. We're going to keep pulling coats, and we're going to keep holding people accountable who deviate. I'll leave it there.
All right, go ahead, KP. Has masculinity been killed? Why not?
Peace to the panel. It's under attack, just like Trev said. Depends where you go, what you allow. We've been taught in this society and now tucked tail. We can't speak up for ourselves or we sassy. We can't show emotion. And they think we sweet. You can't be too heavy-handed because you're being abusive. So where's the common medium? You can't be the man of yesteryear because that looks way too much like Mr. off of Color Purple. Or you can't be so soft that you got your nails painted and you let your woman run over you and have her way. But society is now dictating it because we're in a non-traditional society. A woman make $1 more than you. She says you have to ramp up and meet her somewhere. And we've been dating down since the beginning of time. So where's the happy medium? Will has those standards. Those are stalwarts within our community. Not all men can measure up to all four. But that under Will's standards, does that diminish you being a man? We're fighting for our existence out here. And I think it's not dead, but the fight has to intensify. The rules have to change. Yeah, you want Trump one thing. Stop that sweet boy stuff. I think that's going in the right direction. Shout out to Viz. I agree with you on that. But I think we need to lock arms, like I said before. When the women were saying I was toxic and it was running, JR, you even said, well, how are we going to keep them here if they can't take the hard discussion? That's not our fault. They don't want a man to be a man. They prefer you tuck a tail and make them comfortable. Life is uncomfortable. And once they recognize that they're not the most denigrated people in the world. Us black men are. We're marginalized, we're denigrated, we're belittled. I think the fight goes on. But we have to make a real shift and stand on our square. And I'll land right there.
All right. Marcus, you want to go ahead and answer this question? I got another question I'm going to pose to the panel, but I don't know if you want to chime in on this. Yeah. All right, I'll go ahead to the next question. He mentioned...
Wait, can I ask Kenny something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Kenny, what man can't live up to those 4 pillars?
The ones that you be trying to nunchuck every damn day on social media.
No, I be trying to get them hands to step their game up. They got it in them. It's just ain't nobody trying to pull it out of them. Y'all, because y'all so passive with it, men are used to being chastised. They've gotten to 18 without a daddy in their house. And now they getting pacified by society. I'm their daddy now. So I got to try to man them up, try to grow them up.
You need somebody to pull you by your nostrils.
Well, let someone try to do it and watch they get handled. They gonna either whip my ass or I'm gonna whip their ass. But somebody's ass gonna get whipped.
Hey, I think a part of masculinity too, especially as a man, is understanding that teachers teach differently, right? So the same way that someone may be a bit more, the delivery may be softer, maybe like humble dad, right? Not to say that your approach is soft, but it's coming from a different perspective compared to with Will's, where it's a lot more direct, it's blunt, it's in your face. So I think even in becoming a man as a child, as a young boy, you understand that going through life, that okay, pastor such and such at the church, he gonna give it to me like humble dad, but big bro on the street, he gonna be blunt like Will. And understanding how to use that knowledge that you're receiving from these different men, that furthers to teach you what masculinity is. But I think that just as everybody said, the standards has been watered down. So now everybody is more laid back on it, more passive, right? These young boys, they feel comfortable cussing in front of women, pants sagging on the ground, and nobody say nothing to them because they're young niggas, and we scared that they got a switch on them or something. So now it's this open war, not only on the outside, but also on the inside. So once we acknowledge that and fix that, then, you weed out the problems.
Mhm. So I know he did talk about his 15-year-old son taking in the responsibilities when he's not present. So I do want to pose that because that was a topic that I was hearing a lot of people respond to and say they don't think a 15-year-old boy should be acting as a man at a house, that he needs to remain a child and be able to be a child for as long as he can. And the parents should not grow him up in no formal way. So my next question is, should a 15-year-old son be told he's the man of the house when his father's not present?
Absolutely.
Boys need to grow up as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. If that man could go out there and have a woman and impregnate her and have a child, which he's supposed to do biologically, that nature is telling him that he is a man. But society tells him, oh no, you got to wait until you're 18 to become a man. And that's not really where it's at. Like shit, I was 12 years old making my own money, buying my own school clothes. You know what I mean? Like everybody, I know everybody develops differently, but like say my son is 8 and I tell him to take out the trash, right? And so he's struggling. He's and I'm just staring at there. I'm just looking at him like, hey, bro, you got to figure it out. Figure out the best way to carry this trash to the trash can. You know what I'm saying? You're a little man right now. Things are gonna be tough. Things are gonna be hard. But yeah, man, for anybody saying no, I mean, I don't know. I just feel sorry for whoever they raising, but he could definitely say that his 15-year-old is the man of the house by default, for sure.
Told you we ain't got no structure.
But see, that's the whole thing. Did anyone even hear like what he attached to it? He didn't say, "Oh, this is how you go ahead and load the chamber," and all. He said, "You call the police if someone out. You make sure the doors is locked. Make sure the alarm is on." That's just being responsible, man. If you can't give your teenager some type of responsibility, what the hell is he doing, man? There's nothing wrong with what he said. He gave context for people to understand, and he made it simple, so you couldn't just run with it. So if people are giving backlash like that for the stupidest reasons, I don't even understand. Like, forget what they talking about, man. Their opinions don't even matter at that point. Seriously. Think about what he said. He made it simple for everybody to understand what he was talking about.
He also
I missed the clip. I know we're talking about Anthony Mackie. Was it a short clip?
no.
Yeah, it was a.
Yeah,
It was a short.
But he also, to go on with what you're saying, Trev, is that he also made it to a point of where to check with him. He said, check with dad once you've done all the things that I've told you to do, so that the dad is still the leader of the house, but he has a subordinate, if you will, a captain that he can lean on when he's not there.
Or a proxy.
And it's also giving the kid an opportunity to see what manhood feels like when dad is not present. So I definitely believe that a 15-year-old, I have a 13-year-old, and he has an older sister, but when we leave, I tell him he's in charge, you know what I'm saying? Because he needs to know what that feels like and what he needs to be able to do in case a situation breaks out. So I'm for the young men to know that they are the men of the house.
All right. You want to answer that, Marcus? Should a 15-year-old son be told he's a man in the house when his father's not present?
Yeah, no, I agree that you should do that. Absolutely. Because he's gonna have to learn to step into the role for himself sometime or later. So it's best to run trials right now while you got the chance to observe him and oversee everything he's doing. And that way you can correct him in real time too. And teaching that responsibility for his mother, his sisters, the women in his family, or how to just maneuver with security in mind is something that some people are innately born with, and sometimes you got to train it. So yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think the reason that the people have been attacking him, to the previous question, people automatically assign negativity to masculinity. So even though everything he said was a positive, they filled in the blank of all of these negative things and pushed that on the statement that he was making. And by doing that, you further villainize masculine men, and then society claims to want masculine men and not be part of a what is it? A sascox? I don't know how you say this shit. Sassocalypse or whatever. Sassyocalypse. I don't know how to say the word right now. But a sassy apocalypse. There we go. Be part of the sassy apocalypse. But I think most masculine men, no matter how much you tease me, I'm not gonna turn effeminate and like men. So they can do what they want. Throughout history, they always they always gonna attack men. We've been at war, from war to words or war, you know what I'm saying? The cultural image is messed up, but at the same time, we built for this. So we force strong, you feel me?
I think another powerful point of that too is you'll be able to see if your son has truly been watching you, or if you've been showing your son how to be a man, to be the man of the house, because he's going to mimic what it is that he sees. Right? Children mimic what they see. That's why we say that they are reflection. So if you're not showing him how to be a man, then he's going to be clueless on how to carry out these basic functions that we expect out of young boys and young men. And that's another key point too that I think that we definitely should acknowledge.
Beef, can I jump in real quick? Because I want to say I agree with him, but from the fact that I had 2 daughters and I'm a military guy. So my job was protective services. So fight, shoot, communicate was all I trained to do. So when I would leave for deployments, both my daughters knew, as well as my ex-wife, how to manipulate weapons, how to do weapon takeaways. They both were trained in jiu-jitsu. They both had been suspended from school at some point for breaking a nose or something like that. Like, I get that it's more to what Marcus said. They jumped on the fact he said man of the house and all the responsibilities and things and took it into a negative way. But the question of if a 15-year-old kid should step up in support of protecting the household, and if that's right or not, I agree with the fact that it's absolutely right. Whether it be a little boy or whether it be my little girls, like that was all the kids in the house. Like that's who's there. So that's how I feel about it. But it was from the fact that I raised girls like that. So yeah.
Hey, I don't have no sons either. So, but I don't know. I have mixed thoughts on what you just said. I understand a girl being able to protect herself, but I think I would much rather my daughters become masters at de-escalation. And I know you're talking about maybe there's an intruder or something, so that's a little different, right? You do what you can in that situation. But I don't want my daughters breaking nobody's noses. I don't want my daughters. I know it may be circumstantial.
Yeah, it was definitely circumstantial because even the protection was about de-escalation. That's the whole makeup. No, it's de-escalation first. But if not, then I'm up for it. That's my move now. Like, I'm spiritually natured, but I'm up for it if that's where it goes.
I think if I did have a son, I would I think boys need to grow up faster than girls. They say girls mature faster than boys. Whether that's true or not, I don't know if that's scientifically true, but I would encourage my sons to develop as fast as possible. I would try to monitor their childhood and sustain it for as long as possible while still giving them the tools. I want them to have the tools to do, because if I'm gone, they need to be able to know how to do what it do. They can't be like, well, daddy didn't teach me that yet. He was waiting for me to get to a certain age. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So we have to prepare our sons with every opportunity we get, but at the same time, monitor that they're not growing up so fast that they forget that they're still a kid. I think a great way to do it, instead of a boy being the man of the house, because I wouldn't use those words, you're the man of the house. I would convey, hey, you have responsibilities to this house. And I think you first start with their bedroom. Boys can be the master and the man of their bedroom. It's like, develop some discipline, develop some structure. I'm not militant, like making your bed every day, like, perfect, pristine, make sure there's no wrinkles and stuff like that. But if a parent wants to implement that type of structure, I would encourage that. Hey, you say, hey, whenever I open your door, I better not be disappointed. And we figure out what that is. Maybe you tell him exactly what that is, or maybe through trial and error, he'll figure out what that is, but you have to have some type of strategic plan of developing boys on a daily basis. So by the time that they're men, by the time they hit 18, since we got this arbitrary age of 18 makes you an adult. I don't know why it's 18. You can lose your life at 18 in the military, but you can't drive. I mean, you can't drink. So it's just like these arbitrary ages are crazy. But by the time boys turn 18, they should not be trying to figure out life. Boys are trying to figure, like, literally are coming out of high school green as hell. And I'm not trying to stunt or bloviate or nothing like that, but I bought my first house. I almost closed on my first house when I was 20. They pushed my closing back, so I actually closed on it right after I turned 21. That ain't a stunt. It's easier to purchase a home than most people think it is. But people were looking at me like, oh my gosh, you got a house? And I'm like, bro, it's actually almost easier to get a house. But let me tell you, I got the house because I couldn't get an apartment. They wouldn't rent to me. They said I didn't have no credit, no rental history. So it was easier for me to buy a house than it was to get my first apartment. So I didn't even get my first apartment. I actually bought a house. But if we start teaching boys differently, by the time they turn 18, they won't be so inadequate. They'll be sufficient.
So Will, I got a question. Were you exposed to someone purchasing a house before that?
My mama bought her house. My mama bought her house 2 years before her first house, 2 years before I bought mine. And it wasn't, I went off to college. I was in college.
So I asked because how were you, or how did you know to say, okay, nobody's renting apartments to me, let me go and purchase a house?
Well, it wasn't nobody. It was just one company. But I always thought to myself, I was like, it's better to buy a house than rent anyways. That's what I always thought. Whether I was right or wrong is irrelevant. That's just what I thought. And when I was like, why rent? I might as well just buy a house.
Right.
So I figured out, I found a realtor and just figured out, what do I need to do to buy a house? She told us what to do. So I bought a house. Me and my fiance at the time, we wasn't married. I bought a house and I got married at a young age of 21. Don't recommend it, but I don't unrecommend it either. So
I think that story says a lot. The subcontext of it is understanding that in manhood and masculinity, it's directly tied to problem solving.
I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think we're not challenged enough. And then when we come of age, we have so many things that we have no idea how to handle it. And there's really no one to turn to, because I met my father when I was 23 years old. So I didn't have a father figure. It just is what it is. But I had challenges in life, partially because I was looking for them more so than they were just falling in my footstep.
Exactly.
So where'd you get the pillars that you stand by if you didn't have a father present?
Well, I had to learn how to be a man. See, I told my when I got married at 21 to my high school sweetheart. We started dating at 14, which we shouldn't have been dating at 14, but we were. We got married at 21. We shouldn't have got married at 21, but we did. We got separated at 31 and divorced at 33. And I looked at that experience and I said, you know what? There was a mistake made on this journey that no one caught, that someone should have caught it. But because no shade, but he wasn't a man, he granted me access. He gave me his blessings to marry his daughter.
That sounds like the best situation to me, bro. But that sounds amazing. Like, if my daughter was with the man since 14 and I know that they were together, I'll say, hell yeah, marry her. Why not?
It sounds good.
Why do you say that it wasn't a good decision?
Because he didn't vet me properly.
Well, I'm saying in your position, because regardless if he did that, right? Whatever happened within you guys' relationship, you're directly tied to. So being able to look back at it, what was it that you can share with young men possibly in that same position to be able to analyze and look at, to learn from?
So I wasn't ready to be someone's husband. Not to say I wasn't a good guy, not to say I wasn't faithful or honest or any of those things, right? But when it comes to those pillars, I wasn't a leader yet. And to turn your daughter over, you could turn your daughter over to a man who's not a provider. You could turn your daughter over to a man who's not a lover. You could turn your daughter over to a man who may not be a protector, but you cannot turn your daughter over to a man who's not a leader. You cannot do that. That is paramount. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is protection. We all want our daughters to be protected. That's safe to say. But if a man doesn't know how to lead, and I was leading, but I wasn't leading properly. Sometimes I would lead like in spurts, like with a heavy hand. I said it or whatever. Or sometimes I would lead with money or whatever. I just didn't understand how to lead properly, how to love properly. I was doing the best I could at the time. I just wasn't ready. And I think what he should have done, but in hindsight, I could tell y'all he didn't have it. Fathers should take their daughter's future husband under their wing. Make sure their tutelage is intact to say, hey, listen, you want to marry my daughter. I don't necessarily want you to marry my daughter. That's what you want to do. So let's go on a journey together. Let me make sure that you have what it takes to be a husband and a future father. And let me make sure you have I have what it takes for you to feel confident to come to me when you need something, when you're frustrated, when you're concerned, when you have doubt. Because I think a man's best friend should be his wife's father.
You was gonna take him to the camp You was gonna put him in the woods, put 2 stakes on his leg, fight a bear? Well,
No, you do what you do what you do what you have the skill set to do. Every man don't have every skill set. So you make sure that young man, whatever he has, he's going to have some things you don't have, but you make sure you give him what you have to make him better.
Right.
And then he's like, look, at some point he should look at me and say, well, I don't need you. I've gotten everything I can get out of you, but I still come to you as a familiar voice, as a voice who we both have a vested interest in your daughter, you know, things like that. But we don't have that type of dynamic because we have this individualism mentality. Oh, I got it. I'm a man. I got it out the mud. No, you should have been getting it from her father, if nobody else. So her father should have invested in you to make sure that you have what it takes to be the man for his daughter.
Real quick, Will, to show you my temperament.
Right on to you. But let me say this. As far as calling our sons saying they the man, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that shit at all. Because when we tell them you the man of the house, so we just downgrading the man in the house just to, you know, turn security light on and lock doors and then make a phone call. No, you're not the man then. Now you could be second in charge. Maybe you could be that. You are second in charge at the house when I'm not there, but you're not the man. Because now you got to sacrifice your life. I don't expect my son to sacrifice his life. No, I don't. And I wouldn't put him in that predicament to do such a thing. I think where you say you think the girls should be de-escalated. No, I think the boys should have the ability to de-escalate more so than the girls because they're going to move and operate off emotions. And I don't need somebody trying to de-escalate just moving off emotions. I need my son to be logical and be able to de-escalate situations so he don't have to get into the point of being volatile, so he don't have to break somebody else's nose, so he don't have to pull out the strap. That ain't what I want my son to have to do. I want him to be able to de-escalate the situation, to walk away from the situation. It takes a bigger man to walk away from the fight than to stay there and knuckle up. It does. Why? Because you got to worry about the name calling, the taunting, the being made fun of because you walked off, because they're going to say, oh, you scared. No, it's not about that. At the end of the day, my son's got more important, bigger things to worry about. That's what I'm teaching my son. My son's play basketball. You on college scholarship. Do you realize if you get into an altercation at one of these bars or on campus or even on the court, you realize your scholarship could be over. And another school may not even give you the opportunity. We're not going to mess that up for what? For some words? Because some tackhead doesn't want to give you play? Nah, walk away. Don't deal with it. It's not worth it at the end of the day.
All right, hold that thought, y'all. Let me get to these super chats real quick. AP Accountability Partner, $20 says, no offense, Brother Will, but your pillar theory lacks a little bit. Temperance, fortitude, justice, wisdom, integrity, and honor each would require a separate pillar. Doesn't make anyone less of a man. AP again, $2 says, my boy Rob got the MLK forehead. I have a dream. I think I might have accidentally took one way. $2, Martin, you turning up Boone's Farm. AP again, $2 says, appreciate the transparency and reflection, Will. AP again, Will is 100% right. Vetting is one thing, but guiding him properly is a leadership trait in itself. Shout out to my brother. Let me see if I skipped one. I think I might have accidentally took this one. Salute to the panel. Brothers Viz, Marcus Hink, HD, Trev, Kenny, Will, Sherm, Rob, salute. The mastermind of King Tall Lapeef J.I. Men, take your sons to the range, teach them hand to hand, and teach them discipline. I want to thank AP.
Bag, boy.
Thank AP for the contribution. So the likes are down, man. I don't know if this is accurate, but if it is, it's a blessing. But it says it's 5,400 people watching. So if it is 5,400 people watching, everybody hit the like button.
For real.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit this. Huh?
JR, I think AP at some point, AP, before we wrap this up, remind me, brother, break down to you why my 4 pillars cover everything you said. Go ahead, JR.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. This is somebody's response to Anthony Matthew.
do men look for protection from other men? Like the way in which women look to be protected by men. And the reason why I want to know that is because I was watching some of the clips of some of the response videos in response to the Anthony Mackie episode on the Pivot podcast. And a lot of the men who were kind of just dragging for Anthony Mackie, I didn't necessarily think that how he was raising his sons was to benefit other men. You know, and we're not talking about like sexual orientation. He's not talking about sexual orientation. But the stuff that he was saying, like he raises his sons to protect their mother when he's not home, saying you the man of the house. You got to make sure the door is locked. You got to make sure, you know, that the windows are locked and stuff like that. And that intruder can't get into the house and stuff like that. Like, I didn't think that he was saying that, like, other than his siblings. And I think Anthony Mackie has quite a few children. I'm not sure of the genders of the children. But it's like, it seemed like he was teaching him how to protect their mom and then the younger siblings who come up after him or whatever. And so it's like, for the grown men that's getting on here, I didn't think that message was for y'all. I didn't think that he was teaching his children how to protect other men. It seemed like he was trying to raise them into becoming men who just look out and protect like women or their children or whatever. It seemed like he was doing what he was supposed to do. So I guess my question, back to my question, is as a man, I want to know, like, do you all as men look for other men to provide you with protection? If your homeboy came to your house, do you expect him to like check your windows and make sure your windows are locked? Are you expecting him to open the car doors for you? And so I'm kind of confused as to why he's being like dogged out.
All right, so it's like she got an issue, man, with men praising Anthony, because when she looked at it, her POV of what he said was that he was talking about protecting women. What are you guys' thoughts about what she had to say? Anyway.
Why does she get any time? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why she got any play on this particular matter. First of all, when men understand men's communication, what he literally was saying is what he does in effort to provide his sons the skill set to be prepared to be men. And so what men can learn from that is glean, can say, you know what, I like that part of the aspect of what he's saying, or I don't like that aspect of what he's saying. Like, he didn't like the aspect. However, others of us was like, you know what, I see what he's saying, so I'm gonna use that piece of information so that I can help my sons do better. Or if I don't have sons, I can at least do that for my daughters that are in play. But as to say, are you looking for men to be able to help you when they come over to your house to lock your doors for you? Well, the scenario would be if my partners came over and somebody was trying to invade the house, my expectation is all hands on deck, right? So that is what. But however, that is what Mackie was trying to say, is that, listen, this is how I raise my kids. My sons, for sure, because I want them to be masculine men, meaning I want them to have the element of protecting and providing for the people that are in the house. And he specifically just said mother because she's a woman, to identify that the son is understanding that they need to be protecting the woman. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't even know why we even responded to her. I think Humble Dad is right. Giving her a response is a feminine trait that we all share if we talk about her for more than 2 more minutes.
My bad for being feminine in that moment, Will. That's not what
right. No, but I think you gave a great response.
Yeah, I think that it just shows the difference in how like men and women can view things from that perspective. Like, it sounded so foreign and crazy to me hearing that. I do agree if like somebody run up and my homies in the house, I would expect them to grab their pole too. But at the same time, that's just because I understand how they coming. But I don't necessarily, not even necessarily, like, look to other men for any form of protection. I don't even look to the police for protection, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like I'm gonna stand on my own and I'm gonna either get myself in or out of any situation. And when it comes to my family, my protocol would be women and children before me. And my son eventually is going to have to adopt that philosophy. So it's going to be ingrained from young. Now, I agree he should learn to de-escalate so he can keep himself out of harm's way. But I'm keep it real. I'm gonna look at my child funny if somebody break in the house and it's him, my wife and the kids, and he goes and hides and saves himself, and everybody else, you know, is something negative happens in that regard. That's just me personally, not to how anybody else wants to run their household, but that would bother me about him. Like, son, I didn't raise you to be like this. You know what I'm saying? But I get the point in wanting to preserve and protect your child. It's just the way I view the hierarchy of needs or the serving those in the family. I would want him to step up in that role. Honestly, I would. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Bill.
I think that will also show what position that he will play in masculinity, in manhood, right? Is he what's the term? A first responder? You know, is he the type that's going to run into the battle, or, you know, the one that's going to play the background? And even though you may be the first responder, sometimes, you know, instinctively, you know, they'll be the more passive. But, you know, of course, that's something that's trained for them to develop, you know, to, if you don't want them to be that, if that makes sense.
So do you think, Vic, do you think if my 15-year-old on somebody coming through the door don't handle himself that day correctly, are you saying that now he's shot, period? He won't be that type? Okay. I just want
no, not at all.
Got it.
You
And
know?
the reason I said it, and again, I shout out, I love Kenny P with the authenticity. I was on the porch from my neighborhood. It was inner city, but I sat on the porch. I joined because they gave me an equation. It was like, yo, you got a divorce, you to move to town. When you go over, oh man, I'm trying to play ball, man. No, nigga, we're gonna beat your ass every day. You come to this bus stop, or you can go over. Well, that's simple math. So I did enough to stay relevant. I didn't earn my stripes for real, but being able to put somebody down until Uncle Sam taught me. So if you talk about my youth, and if you met me prior to 18, you was like, oh, that goofy ass nigga, man, I used to love to make people laugh and this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you met me from 19 to 40 before I lost my fucking mind, I'm ready to put you down. So that's why I was asking, on a sense, because people change, man. Experiences like that change people to where they shift in their way. And since I'm gonna talk to the brother Will. Matt, Will, I love your passion, homie, but just go with me for one quick second. If you starving one day, right, and I pull up and I'm like, Will, what's up? You like, nigga, I'm so hungry, bro. I'm so hungry. I'm like, Will, I just left your favorite restaurant. What's your favorite restaurant? Real quick, throw it to me.
Burger King.
Burger King. All right, bet. I'm like, bro, I got half my lunch from Burger King. You know what I mean? You my brother. I got half my lunch in the car. You want it, bro? You can have it. And you like, hell yeah. I give you that lunch. You open up the bag. You got my roach, because I smoke a blunt out to every lunch I eat. Put it out. It's in there. You got my Coca-Cola can that I drunk. It's in there. You got the napkin from me wiping my mouth and my fingers. It's in there too. Do you eat what's in that bag?
Yep.
See, that's why I love you. Most people won't, because most people won't dig for what they want through the trash. So my point is, delivery matters. Your passion and the things you talk about are great, but bro, they're so abrasive sometimes that the message gets lost, and I'm looking at your abrasion rather than your message. And your message is real, though. Your message is authentic and should be said. So just brother to brother, in a sense, if I'm ever opening my mouth and communicating, it's so my message is received. That's the other part of the process. If I'm just berating, in a sense, I know nobody listens like that. If I come at you on some dumb shit, you ain't gonna hear nothing I said past the dumb way I came at you. You're gonna be ready to defend that. You're a king. You understand that about men. That's part of the pillars.
Yeah, but I disagree.
You disagree with communicating in that way?
No.
Yeah, I disagree with you on that too, Rob.
Go ahead. Let me hear it.
I think you're making a great point. But I think, like Viz said earlier, some people need my message and some people need Humble Dad's message. Not
absolutely.
every Humble Dad's message will never penetrate me as a youth. It would have never
absolutely
my attention. I would have never wanted to talk to him after a session. Like if he came and he spoke to my school, the Boys and Girls Club, I would have fell asleep. No disrespect to his message. His message is not wrong. His delivery is not wrong. His tone is not wrong. It's not for me.
But Will, that hold on real quick. To that point, that there's a protester and then there's a policy change. Threats don't get to sit at the table. So Humble Dad is the person who gets policy in effect after you done blown up the spot with the protest. He's got a role too.
That's cool. And that's what I'm saying. His message is not wrong. His tone is not wrong. His delivery is not wrong.
No, but I'm asking, why does he get the friendly fire from you if you understand he's part of the process?
He's not getting any fire from me. I'm telling you that there's let's just say for the sake of argument, there's two types of people in the audience.
Okay.
Can't leave in peace, man. Y'all ain't right.
The Bobby Knight. What do you say?
What do you say? Just throw a Humble Dad right in the middle of this.
I'm using Humble Dad.
Yeah, as an example. Yeah, it's love for the homie though. It's love for him.
It's just
eloquently stated.
The opposite.
Viz used as an example, and it was eloquent the way he stated it. See, a lot of people think Bobby Knight is a terrible coach. That would have been the coach for me.
Yeah.
That would have been the coach that would have got the most production out of me. Look at me like, man, you
choke you.
Whatever. No, I ain't no choke. Come on, man.
Hey, Will, when you get a moment, I'm gonna respond to you real quick. All right?
Yeah. I tell people this all the time. I say, listen, my message is not for everyone. I'm not trying to reach everyone. I'm trying to reach the people that my message resonates with. If it doesn't resonate with you, guess what you do? If I'm on a social media app, close the app. If I'm on YouTube, right, stop watching the broadcast. If I'm in face to face, walk away and go find the people you will listen to. Yeah. But for me to try to deliver a message to try to cater to some of these weak ass people, that just ain't gonna happen.
And there you go. That's where you fall off.
Hold on, sir. Let me ask y'all this: would y'all want me to deliver a message authentically, or would y'all want me to change and be something I'm not to try to appease people?
Never would ask you to change. Never would actually change. But what I'm asking is, understand there's a whole spectrum of all of us operating like that. See, there's a difference in uniformity and unity. Uniformity is we look alike. We all black. That's not what we're aiming for. What we're aiming for is unity pointed in the same direction. You're right. You aren't going to meet everybody. But then those you don't meet, don't look at them like they suckers. Send them to Humble Dad so they can hear some, because you say his stuff is not, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Well, don't misunderstand when I call them weak. I don't mean the weak people go to Humble Dad.
No, me either. And I'm gonna stop using Humble Dad because I don't want him to think I'm
I think it's okay to use people, right?
Yeah.
They hear what you say, they respond to you, and then everybody learns something.
I agree. So it's love, Humble Dad, from Rob.
So the problem I have, I'm gonna throw somebody else out there.
Okay,
I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
One of the problems I have is when people try to police a message, right? So let's say, okay, if I see somebody who's rich, right? If I see somebody rich, then I start spending their money and be like, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. You got all that money, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Well, how much money do you got? And they're like, well, I ain't got that much. Oh, that's not what I asked you. How much do you have? You see how much I got. I got 40 million. Let's hypothetically, right? So you're telling me what I should do with my 40 million. How much you got? I got 30,000. Okay. Ain't there something you could be doing with your 30,000? Are you doing it? If you ain't, then shut your ass up. Because you could be doing what you expect me to do. but you don't want to do it because you think I have an abundance, so I should do it for you. You feel called to do this. Go do it. Don't sit there and hold some. Like, one thing I get tired of in the Black community, melanated people, African Americans, the dumbest phrase I've ever heard in my life. But if we keep on talking about Oprah, Jay-Z, Barack, LeBron should start black banks and da 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 da. We love spending other people's money. You get you and 1,000 people who make $50,000-$60,000 a year, and y'all collectively pull y'all resources together. Find 1,000 like-minded, 10,000, 50,000 like-minded people, and y'all collectively do it. It's going to be harder. So what? You believe in it, get it done. If you don't get it done, if you ain't even at least starting on that journey, don't come critique my message. And I'm not saying, Rob, I'm okay with you critiquing my message, okay? I think brothers.
I'm not critiquing it. I'm just,
Even if you are, I'm okay.
Sharpen iron, sharpen iron.
That's your critiquing.
I think Humble Dad, were you trying to respond to somebody?
Man, I am. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
I appreciate the acclimates in which you're using me as it relates to an example. The reason, and just for context, I'm a teacher, and I've been a teacher for 20 years. And so I've dealt with so many different forms of individuals, from middle school to high school and to college. So, and just in my family in general, right? And it's interesting that you all would say that this particular person would come to Humble Dad, when in fact I'm such a chameleon that I'm able to communicate with whoever I need to communicate with at that time. So Will, you would listen to me because I would know exactly who you are and be able to communicate to you. As we're on the airwaves, I understand that there is a larger audience that I'm having to articulate to, and they're more people, I would say, are more likely to listen to what I'm saying if I articulate it in a way that is palatable, right? And so, but the way that I am with my kids, I'm very forceful as it relates to how you are, Will, when I'm talking to my kids, because they're under my tutelage. If they're in my classroom and I have a problem child, we're going to war because I make you feel like you are the problem in my classroom and you don't want to be here being a problem in my classroom. So don't let the soft touch fool you in the sense of how I communicate on the airwaves, because I adjust to the situation. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, so Humble Dad, you take the Joe Clark approach, take him up to the roof? I don't see that in you.
That's okay.
Well, you might be blind, Kenny.
You don't have to see it.
you might need some clear view.
Yeah, but you don't have to see it in me, right? But I'm letting you know, if you were to be in my space, like, I'm the individual that knows as a communicator that I have to communicate with the person in front of me. I have to talk to the person that's in front of me in order to get my message. And I'm also been in sales for like 20 years. So I know as a salesperson that I need to mirror my customer, right? So I'm able to give you the message that needs to be had so that I can get my point across. Now, if you yelling at me, then I'm probably going to yell back. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the
yell.
So Humble Dad, I think the thing is, and that's I 100% understand that, but I think the thing is that the different exteriors that you guys present, right? The contrast of Will, the contrast of Humble Dad. These are two different immediate appearances that someone would see before they even start listening to you, right? Will is a lot more animated, especially if he's talking about something that he's passionate about. He's more animated. That a certain type of person can relate to that and understand and connect with that before they hear you speak, where again you're the complete opposite as far as with what we see by default. So I think that was more so the point of pointing that out.
Yeah, I totally understood that. I totally understood that. I didn't take no offense at all. I was just communicating in why I why I approach the airwaves in the way that I do, because I'm trying to reach a larger audience, and most of them are sensitive to harsh words.
And check this out. I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad Biz said what he said.
Hey, we got to get back on topic too, y'all. I know we talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to get back on topic.
I'll make this last point, JR. People think that I'm just harsh with people nonstop all the time. I'm not. I'm gentle and kind with people on a one-on-one level. When we're talking to each other, I can understand your plight and I can listen to you, and I could adjust my temperament to match yours. I'm in sales too. I own a sales company, been in sales for 22 years. So here's what I would say. Another issue I have with our community, we love trying to broadcast to reach the masses. I specifically tell people I'm seeking the minority. I'm seeking a select few. I'm not trying to impact 50 million people. I'm trying to impact 2 to 3. So if there's 1 million people listening to me and 999,000 blah 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 number, only 3 of them it resonate with, I believe it was a job well done. I walk out of there feeling victorious. I don't walk out of there feeling defeated. Like, damn, I had the opportunity to reach all these people. I don't give a damn about them people. That's it.
All right, we can have that conversation up on the back end. So I do want to get to this next clip. I'm not going to that one, Trev. I'm gonna go ahead and skip past that one. Trev sent me a clip, and I was kind of cautious about whether I was gonna play it or not. Man, I don't know how y'all was gonna react to it, but anyway.
What you scared of? Let it rip.
I ain't scared of. I just want to because I know we going a little bit over time.
Respect.
I do want to get to this one. I'll come back on the back end of it if we have time. But Joe Budden, they also discussed the Anthony Mackie situation. I'm only going to play the audio from this because sometimes Joe Budden clips be funny. But I'm going to play the audio from this one, break it up into 2 parts. But things got heated in this discussion. It definitely got heated. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then we'll go ahead and get into it.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Having daughters. Mm-hmm. What are the things that you
even that's the point?
Oh my God!
Why you can't hear from a man that don't have a daughter?
Can I fucking talk?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And because having a daughter changes your perspective on a lot of things. I want to tell you that.
Hey,
but not mine.
Ice, but wait, that is the point.
Joe,
niggas don't need a daughter to qualify. We speaking as men.
Joe, I hear you. I'm telling you, as a man with a daughter,
we got that part.
But you can't.
We're talking about just men.
I know you yelling, but
we're just talking about men.
I understand.
We're not talking about your daughter, your mom, your sister. We got that part. This conversation started and should end with men telling you about men and the erasure of men.
Yes.
You don't need to speak to somebody with a daughter to see how a man feels. Speak to a fucking man.
Okay,
let her get that shit off.
No,
please.
No, he just shut it.
Please continue.
He completely shut down everything that I put. No, because I can't respond to the Doshi thing. I can't respond to the bear thing.
Respond.
I can't because it all factors in. It does. My fucking argument when you keep bringing up this bear shit, it's fucking pissing me off because you are being willfully fucking obtuse. All right, stay fucking there. You two, you have daughters. Mm-hmm. What is it that you are teaching your daughters in terms of when they go out into the world, how to conduct themselves? Only in terms of their sense of personal safety. Who do they need to keep themselves safe from? Who? And don't just answer the question.
People. Yeah, I was gonna say the world.
Okay.
The world.
Can you be a little bit more specific?
People, like you said, I get where you're trying to go with that. I'm not sitting there. I mean, I'm not at that point yet, but it's not. Hey, look out for Ben. Look out for boys. No,
I can
it's look out for people.
Okay.
People are fucked up out here today.
And I'm just asking you two specifically.
Wait, hold on. I have a 15-year-old daughter.
He can answer better than I
have a 15-year-old daughter. I tell her to be on the lookout for people, jealous girls, but I also tell her to be on the lookout for older men that's trying to prey on younger girls, offering rides and stuff like that. Is that where you're getting at? I tell her that, but that's what you learn in growing up, and that's some men do that.
No, and that is fair, and that is fucking accurate. I can tell you stories of when I was 11 and 12. No, fuck that. 8. We had a handyman that used to come to the house, and one day my father was just like, my parents worked, and my dad was literally like, he's coming to the house, just give him the money for the work that he did, blah, blah, blah. He came to the house. I was there alone. He was drunk and he tried to do some shit to me. It was fucking terrifying because I'm in my own fucking house and this is somebody that my parents fucking trusted. And he came there drunk and it was really fucking bad. That is just one experience. There's so many more that I can talk about that happened before the age of fucking 16 years old. The reality is that you can be in the safest environment and still there will be a situation that unfolds that where you need to teach your daughters to be careful of predatory boys and men. And I'm not talking about people.
I know.
Because
Can I ask a question? Can I ask you a question?
Just wait 1 second. Anything can fucking happen.
That story about the handyman, was your dad there for that?
No, he wasn't. He was at work. It was during the day. It was like fucking noon or something like that.
Mel,
Okay, now, so hold on.
There
No,
are systematic efforts that are out there to discredit and silence the black man.
I'm not talking.
But you have to acknowledge that too,
I'm
Mel.
not.
Mel, wait. Listen, you you should acknowledge the fact that there is a movement to discredit the black man, to discredit men.
The straight black man.
The straight,
Not just black men, the straight black man.
Online, they're showing that women have all this power and women are in control of the home and the black man are not here to take care of their
Legislation says
children.
different.
Legislation where?
Legislation that's being passed, Roe v. Wade being overturned, the anti-abortion laws. There is literally.
We're talking about social media that's being fed to our children.
Okay.
And now if you go on here, there's always something to discredit the black man. You know that and I know that. So that's what the point we're getting at is that there's something that's going on. Not taking away that there's not, we know that there's predators out there. We know that there's men out here that take advantage, but there's also a lot of great men out there that take care of their family, that provide for their children, that protect the home, and that's not being highlighted anymore.
In no way, shape, or form am I fucking denying that at all. I'll highlight it as much as possible.
You don't when you say I'd rather be around a bear.
Oh my God, literally.
You don't though when you say that.
Stop, because the fucking bear is literally just a fucking extreme metaphor for the high incidence rate of fucking sexual assault against women and girls. That's it. It is a fucking metaphor. Get over it, okay?
Mel.
That has nothing to do with the erasure of the concept of the straight fucking man. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with sexual assault.
Melissa
That is
Ford.
it. That is it. That is all. That is it. That is all.
Hold up, please let me get this 1v1 with her, please. And we don't have to yell and get hostile here.
Okay,
We don't have to do
you're
that.
right, but I'm very frustrated by the way
I
that
hear you.
conversation has been handled
receive
over
you.
the course of
we
months
understand
over
that, man.
here,
I receive
especially
you,
for
but a
somebody who
man-
has literally experienced it. Literally experienced it more times than I
Melissa
care to
Ford.
count.
That was the first part of it, man. So they was talking about the whole Anthony Mackie situation, and the conversation kind of steered that way when they was when he was talking about his son protecting the house, and so that's how they got to that conversation. Which, once I play the next clip, it'll all bring it in together. But what do you guys think about that so far?
Yeah, I was about to say, how the hell did she get from that to that?
Yeah, she's leaning on. She's the only woman that's in there, so her thing was about the protection.
It's crazy that her parents would leave her at home at 8 years old in the first place. So that already shows that you're clearly not being covered properly at the bare minimum, and it's illegal as hell for you to be at home by yourself at 8 years old. So to get
no, it's not, Viz. It's not. Kids can be left at home at 8 years old. Unfortunately, they can be.
Every state has a different laws for that.
Trust me, I found that out the way I didn't want to find that out. I was like, you got to be shit.
That's wild. That's wild as hell.
Yeah.
It definitely varies from state to state.
Yeah.
Some have no laws. Like New Jersey has no law. There's no official age. There are some states that say 13.
Yeah, I think it's the same way in Texas, Viz. I don't think it doesn't say anything.
That's wild as hell. To leave your daughter home alone with money for some man to come over, even if you know him, that's a hell of a situation to even be okay with.
I don't trust nobody with my kids, except under extreme circumstances where I have to. Like, I understand Rob has to deploy and he has to trust someone with his kids. But, you know, if I don't leave people with my kids for convenience sake. I mean, my kids will never be left with someone so I can go do something I don't have to do. But I think listening to her, bro, the part that I dislike the most, the two things is she's making it seem like girls should be taught to be afraid of men. She was dancing around it. When they said everyone, she actually had a problem with it. The other part that I had a major problem with was that I think she should have never told that story. That story should have been told to family or friends or people who can take immediate action. But to tell that story on a public platform, no one can validate if it's true. It pushes a narrative, and that narrative is dangerous because now you got people looking at Sherm, me, Trev, Kenny, Hank, Viz, JR, Marcus. We all are that dude that was coming to the house to pick up that money. We don't know who that man is. It's not an archetype of that guy. That's everybody who's not female. And that's problematic. She should have kept that shit to herself.
With that situation, it sounds like the father failed. First of all, no man's coming to my house and I'm not home. No man. No man at all. Nobody coming to my house and I'm not at home. I don't play that shit. So if that means I got to take off for the day in order to do that, then fine. Then if that means little buddy gonna get paid late in order to get this money, he's gonna get paid late, and I give it to you. Or you can come over when I'm at home, or you can meet me at my workplace. Whatever we got to do to get your money, that's fine too. I'm good with that. But we not doing that. And she's talking about what's one of the things that you teach your daughter she should be most afraid of. Well, I didn't teach my daughter to be afraid of a man. I taught my daughter to be afraid of fake friends. Them hoes who you think your friend ain't really your friends. Same ones will backstab your ass, talk about your ass, drag your ass, and might even take your future husband if you give them the opportunity. Those are ones you need to be afraid of. Those are ones you need to be scared of. Those are ones you need to be aware of.
Hey, my daughter would be doing nails sometimes. And well, she had a little nail business. And I stopped. I didn't like her doing it because she started doing not just high school kids. First of all, I hated it because of the liability aspect. But she started doing girls like 21 and 22. And then her mom was letting her do the nails at home alone. And now my daughter's 19 now, so she's not a spring chicken, but she was 15 when she taught herself how to do nails. So I was like, damn, man, I'll teach my daughter how to use a weapon and everything. And the best way I can. I'm not like I'm a trained arsonist or nothing like that, but I mean, trained weaponry. But I told her, I said, look, I don't trust these girls that's coming to you to get their nails done. I'm gonna tell you like this: if one of these girls start acting funny and you hear somebody else come in that house, I want you to put something hot in her first. Because as soon as you put something hot in her, he gonna leave. Trust and believe. Our daughters are and the people that we need to teach our daughters to be weary of the most right now is gay boys, because girls love having little gay friends and they trust these gay boys. There's nothing a gay boy can do that's wrong to the average girl. They forgive them, they let them lay in the bed with them, they do each other's hair, they act like the boy is a girl and he ain't. So I'm so tired of these little boys acting like they besties with girls. I'm so tired of girls talking about their best friend is a boy. I never had a best female friend. If she was my best female friend, I had thoughts on her that she couldn't even imagine. So there's no such thing as boys and girls being best friends. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all can keep pushing them lies if you want to.
So my first of all, I agree with. I wish she probably. It's kind of hard not to tell somebody not to tell their story, but I get it. You don't want that put out as an image. My heart break for that girl at 8 years old to be dealing with that. I got 2 daughters, so my main priority is protecting my kids. And if that's at the expense of me offending somebody, another man, is to make him feel like I'm calling him a predator by the fact he can't be around my children when I'm not there, and he's just gonna have to be offended. I'm training them to be protected from all situations, similar to Hank in both sides, right? But when I'm envisioning the thing that I'm most worried about, it's coming from a man. I got to keep it all the way 100. It's coming from a man. It's coming from a man. I joke about this with my wife. I'm like, the father number one job is to keep dicks out of everybody in the house, from the wife to the kids. Like, no, none should be entering this house to entering anybody in this house. You know what I'm saying? So,
but Marcus, I think the going back to the first conversation, the standard is even if we close as fuck, right? You say, hey, stop by the crib, such and such, you're gonna be there, woo to pick this up. Oh no, bro, I'm gonna come get it from you. You know what I'm saying? As a man, I don't even want to come there to even be put in that position.
Yeah.
But again, that standard isn't there. So clearly we have two men in that situation. We have two men that don't abide by that standard. Because if that was the case, the plumber or whoever the hell he was, he wouldn't have never even went there. And the father wouldn't even have put the daughter or the plumber in that position.
No, that's facts. Like, shit, I wouldn't have walked through that front door. And I also, like, I'm not even, if it's a kids park and I don't got no kids with me, I'm not about to sit down at that park. It's just much stuff that as a man.
Bro, me and my lady were just at the park last night, and it was some adults there, and then all the adults left, and it was three little early teen, like 13, 14-year-old girl. I said, babe, we gotta go. Get the hell up out of here. We was in Brookhaven. I'm like, these three little white girls, and we gotta go, babe. I'm not. I'm always mindful of when girls are around, and I'm like, look, this don't work for me. And as far as him coming, Hink, you're 100% right. All y'all 100% right, talking about these guys shouldn't be coming. The guys shouldn't be coming to these people's house. But it goes to say we don't have any structure and order. There's no what is right and what is wrong. I don't even want to go to my homeboy's house to pick anything up from his wife. Look, bro, when you gonna be home? I'll just swing by there. Now, if you want to leave it for me, leave it on the porch. I'll go grab it off the porch. You want to put it by the garage door? I'll grab it from the garage door. But I don't want to. I don't even like being around other dudes' women. I don't want nobody seeing what they think they see, and it ain't what they see, but they thought they saw something. That's what I don't know. I just don't.
I agree with you 1,000% with that, Will, because there was a time where I had a disagreement in business with a friend of mine, right? And I was providing the service. We got into it, and then he put his wife on the phone. And as soon as he did that, I was like, "Hey, man, I'll give you your money back. We could just shut this. We can shut it down right now." I refuse to argue with another man's wife, especially in regards to business. I will not do it under any circumstances, even if I need the money. Nah, bro, I'm cool. I'm not going that far. You know what I mean? Because I feel like my masculinity will always overshadow her femininity, no matter what position, we are in. Like, I will never, ever let your feminine energy overpower me, and I'll fight to the death. You know what I'm saying? So let's just part ways, so we won't have to take it there and go about our day. Now, I do want to talk about the plumber situation, which is kind of tricky to me, because it's like, we don't know the exact situation. The guy was coming to perform his service, get his money, and leave. But and it could have happened. I'm sure it happened in many cases. I think my parents had a plumber come to the house. Hey, he's coming over. Y'all gonna be home? Okay, cool. Whoever, come in, do your thing, and bounce. Even till this day, this happens. But it's really, on that man himself for coming to somebody's home and trying to provide a service, and being the predator and trying to holler at a little girl. That's fucked up.
No, bro, you gotta put the heat on the father for even putting the daughter in that position.
Yeah, no, I'll put the heat on him too. But then it's like, I honestly feel like because that man was going there for a purpose and one purpose only, and that was to perform a service and get paid and leave, then I could kind of see from the parents' perspective that, like, man, I know this shouldn't be anything I should be worried about, especially back then in those times, because it's not a stranger, huh?
If your 8-year-old daughter hint that somebody tried something inappropriate with her in your house, you're gonna have the wherewithal, because this shit transcends. Like, if my once something snap in my brain, it snap. And it like, if I bro, so that's dangerous for you too, because what if she just I'm jumping off the ledge when it comes to my children. So she'd be like, Daddy, so and so did, where he at? That's all it could be right, wrong, or different, but that's how I'm coming when it comes to my kids.
Yeah,
so
but
everybody in a dangerous situation.
But Marcus, that's you, and then that's me too. I will never put my child in that position in any way whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I mean, nowadays you could be like, as soon as somebody comes around, call me and put me on FaceTime, and I'm gonna let myself be known. You know, but then I do know that some parents are naive and not really, there, and they may make that happen. Me, myself, there's no circumstance where that will happen. Like he said, I don't even want a penis in my house without me being aware of it. If I hear a deep voice in my house and I don't know who it is, I'm hopping up like, hey, hold on. I will have to deal, I don't care if my legs are broke, I'm crawling, you know what I'm saying? I'm letting myself be known. Like, there was a time I went over someone's house and I got my hair done, and I knew that there was a man in the house there, and it kind of confused me because he didn't introduce himself to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I'm a male in your house. You're not even going to come shake my hand and let your presence be known that you here? Your woman and your daughter and the baby's here. It threw me off because any man, even at my parents' house, I answered the door. What's up? Who are you? What's cracking? Anybody. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a little different than maybe the rest of you brothers on the panel and a lot of guys in the world. And I hate when people say that, but I've been listening to some of the stuff that I think about and I verbalize, and I'm like, yeah, most people don't resonate with this. Listen, I don't want to crash out for my kids at like 8, 9 years old. I don't want to believe them. I'm not that parent that believes everything that come out of my kid's mouth. I know kids have a vivid imagination, and I know kids have a fairy tale imagination. And I know some kids can't articulate themselves well. They cannot recall events as they went down. And I caution guys to say, listen, don't ever put yourself in a position where you can be charged with even an accusation of something that's not true, because you can't. The two hardest things to come back from is a RAPE charge or a molestation charge. You could be completely innocent. You could come back from taking someone's life easier than you can acclimate back into the world from some type of devious act of violating a woman's body, a girl to a woman's body, even a boy's body, right? Violating someone's body is looked at worse than taking someone's life. So it's like, I don't want my kids in situations for me to have to even ask them what happened. I don't even let people watch my kids unless, like I said, all else fails. And the people that we need to watch the most are the men that we trust. The people we trust, the women we trust, and the men we trust. Family and friends are the more highly likely to violate your kids than strangers.
But they will only do it if a father isn't present, though. Like, if their father doesn't have a strong presence, the kids are more susceptible to sexual abuse.
Absolutely. So I'm like, look, my brothers, my cousins, my uncles, whoever, I'm just like, look, man, I'm not going to put you in a situation for my kid to say something. I'm just not going to do that. You don't got to watch my kid. Ain't nothing that important that I got to drop them off to you for me to go do it. I'll just miss out. If I have to miss out for the next 7 to 8 years, 12 years until they 13, 14, they can properly articulate themselves, then so be it. I'll just miss out.
All right, let me go ahead and play the rest of this clip, the second part of it.
I'm going to say this in closing because I feel like we have rehashed the bear conversation a bunch.
That's true.
But if the bear conversation is being had through the lens of only sexual assault victims and victims of sexual violence, then you have now answered a question while erasing the rest of the field of men, good men, cornerstone men, legacy building great men. You are erasing that and answering the question through the lens of trauma and pain and horrible experiences with men. So when you hear Anthony Mackie describe what it is to be a man, where is the confusion at? We're not talking about men that do that. We're talking about men, and men should be acknowledged.
Because because the two things have nothing to fucking do with each other. Listen, all right, look, so just wait.
Okay.
Just wait.
I'm done.
The idea...
Because she's not going to get it no matter what you say.
But
you don't get it.
But you
don't get it. You don't get it.
You feel like you're part of the problem because you also highlighted that pressure could be too much for the 15-year-old son. That's the first thing you went to.
We are going all over the fucking place. No, I'm just saying that. Listen, whoa. Just one second.
But you made an excuse for him.
Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. He brought up the bear. He brought it up. Okay. This wasn't even part of the fucking conversation right now. That was just throwing a fucking monkey wrench into the conversation about male masculinity. That has nothing to do with the fucking bear.
Got it.
That was
It
not
has everything to do with the erasure of men and what it is to be a man.
Look.
And that's a man telling you.
No, just wait 1 second.
But even that, a man can't tell you nothing.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
There was this case that just unfolded in fucking France, and her name, and the woman's at the helm of this case, her name is Giselle Pellicotte. Mm-hmm. She was 70 years old, and her husband spent the better part of a decade drugging her and advertising to men to come over and sexually assault her, and she did not know it. And do you know who these men were? There was like 50 of them, 51 of them got, some form of, punishment, legal punishment. Mm-hmm. These men were doctors, plumbers, lawyers. They were family men. Mm-hmm. They were grandfathers. They were all the things. The whole point is that there is no face of a predator. There's no face. There is no look. There's no nothing. You can't tell. So when women are talking about sexual assault, it has nothing to do with, be afraid of, men because they're just scary. It's just there's no fucking picture as to what a predator looks like. The predator can look like your next door fucking neighbor. The predator can look like your fucking father. The predator can be your uncle, can be your brother, can be anybody. That's the whole point.
Which is more reason for Anthony Mackie to describe what raising a man looks like.
So that he does not become a predator.
Can I say something to you, Joe?
What the fuck?
Here's my thing.
Here's my thing. Agreed.
Here's my thing.
Because that's really
we are so used to looking down upon black men. Not saying you're doing it, but people is, because the first thing you said, and I said this when he said about what he's teaching his 15-year-old son, is that you made an excuse by saying that.
It's not an excuse.
Do you think...
I asked a question.
You asked a question, sorry, ma'am, saying that, do you think it may be too much pressure on this child?
Do you want to know why?
We don't think that.
Do you want to know why I asked that?
We teach our boys...
Do you know why?
I want to know why you asked
This is why I asked it.
Yes, ma'am.
Simple reason why. Because as black people, black women, black men...
Yes.
We are forced to grow up a lot faster than we should, okay? Mm-hmm. We are looked at as more mature than our years actually, dictate. Mm-hmm. And that is unfair. That's unfair to both black female children and black male children. They should be able and they should be allowed to have a childhood, full childhood. That was the only reason why I asked. Had nothing to do with him making a poor decision.
I do get that, because on the flip side, the flip side of that be the girl that is maybe 13, 14, and you got to take care of your siblings now.
Yeah.
You're being forced to be,
because society. That's some of the positions that society afford to people.
And I understand that, but Anthony Mackie is very, very rich. He has a lot of money. He has a lot of access to things. I'm just talking about him specifically.
Okay,
I'm not talking about, say the single mom who's got several children and she's got to work 2 jobs. And yes, then she relies on her children. And I understand that. I'm not talking.
Is that an exception? Do you give that an exception?
And I will give him that he could be considered an exception to the rule. That was the only reason why I asked that question.
Okay.
And it had nothing to do with, the concept of masculinity being bastardized or forced upon him too early. No, it's just like he's still kind of a kid. and he should be able to be a kid. That's the only reason why I asked it.
Do you know what it's like?
She got a lot of F-bombs, don't she?
Man,
Talking to her,
her mouth is filthy.
Crazy. Like, I mean, Joe Budden really wasn't helping the issue with that anyway. Like,
She was mad at him.
him yelling at her like that, he's not understanding that. He's just further like he's making it worse, pretty much. And he should know this is a form of a man not being masculine right here, right? And what do you mean how? Like, I just explained it though. Like, he's yelling at a woman. He's sitting here yelling at a woman. That is not masculine, bro. Like, no matter how
who's visibly hurt, who's screaming, "I'm in pain." I'm screaming, "I'm in pain," because I've been put in her mind, in her thought process, whether we know it's true or not. But in her mind, she's been violated by what she appears to be a man. And that stirring. So as a man, I see that. I want to provide safe refuge for you to calm down enough to again hear my message.
But he wouldn't stop, and that was the problem. Like, it's falling on deaf ears at that point, and that's why I say the delivery is more important. Sometimes you have to understand who you're talking to. You have, yes, you do. If you want to be an effective communicator, you can't give everybody the same message. That's garbage. It ain't gonna work like that. That's not how you speak to
one at a
everyone.
time, guys.
I was going. I got cut off. I wasn't.
Oh no, my bad. Go ahead, Trev. My bad.
So what I'm saying is that you have to understand how to deliver your messaging, right? Even if, and we're not saying you have to change your message in any way, shape, or form, but your delivery is always important. Otherwise, you're going to miss people. If you're going to be encountering people, if you're going to be talking on people, you're going to be a conversationalist running a podcast, then you probably should know how to talk to people, particularly the people who are on your show, women, particularly the fact that he's already had all these crazy accusations and women complaining about him, his conduct, and him losing people for it. So you just got to be more responsible with that, right? Not to say that she was doing any better, right? She was hot garbage too. She's just not, she's like, think about it. If she's just going to drop the F-bomb like that, she wasn't trying to hear nothing he was going to say either, right? She had her pain, she had her hurt, and she's obviously bitter. She's obviously traumatized, right? Jaded, whatever you want to call it. So her, I couldn't see a man ever dealing with her like in a serious relationship for long term, right? Just because of the damage that's done, right? They'd have to be a supreme specialist to be able to navigate a relationship with that. Just because, and that's why I say, listen, when people are that messed up, unless you are a professional, stay far, far away. But we have to learn how to talk to each other sometimes, right? That they weren't letting each other finish. Nobody's hearing anybody. It took the other dude to kind of intervene and simmer it down a little bit, because at least she felt like he was listening to her. So when you want your message to be delivered, you don't want it to fall on deaf ears, and you don't want to waste your breath. If you want to communicate with people, sometimes you have to be able to change your tone. You have to be able to, and it's not about patronizing. It's just about being a human being and understanding how people are going to receive it. A lot of times we don't understand how we come off, and it doesn't make sense to talk if the person who you're speaking to isn't hearing you. At that point, you're just wasting your breath. That's a major problem. I did kind of want to address the other situation with the whole plumber thing. Apparently, you got to watch out for plumbers now. So she should have never been in that situation, right? Why the hell would you put your 8-year-old daughter in harm's way like that? That is so damn irresponsible. It's baffling. I can't even fathom ever leaving. And my daughter's older than that right now, right? Pretty almost double that age. I would never do it. Never. It's just, it makes no sense. I've serviced houses for years, right? And if you were 17 and a half, I'm not jumping in there. It's a no, right? It does not matter. If you were not of age, legal age, then I have no business being in there. I don't need any accusations. I don't need anybody that say, look, this is something happened. Because the first question, why were you there? Did you make sure they were of age? And that's just being a responsible adult. You know better. You shouldn't do that. And then for him to go all the way in and try to violate like that is crazy. And we gotta, it's no defending people like that. We gotta get them people out of here, man, because it's dudes like that make the rest of us real men look like shit. You got individuals like that who who are the loud minority, when something like that come up, they represent us. And this is the picture. This is why, we the boogeyman right now, because of individuals like that who are irresponsible, want to violate women and children. And we all wear that, because when they see us, that's who they see half the time, because of fools like this. They don't see enough of us. Go ahead. I know somebody else wanted to jump in.
Well, I want to ask you about, like, do y'all not see a problem with her being on the panel of that show? Like, how often would it be weird to y'all if y'all saw a show, a podcast, and it was 6 women and 1 guy? Y'all think he gay? There's no guy that's going to want to be on that podcast week in and week out talking about random topics, knowing that he has to fight to get his point across every time he has an opinion about something controversial.
Fresh and Fit was quite successful, and that was the model. It was just 2 of them, mostly.
No, but I'm talking about 5, 6 guys and 1 woman, 5, 6 women and 1 guy. She shouldn't even be on that show.
Well, yeah,
I mean, there's a
marketing.
few reasons for that. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, that's primarily focused at marketing. So that helps. They know that they're going to have opposing views. So this is a way for us to hold some type of woman demographic for them to be able to tune in and agree with the stuff that she's saying. That's why she's able to add her 2 cents, because in no world should a woman be telling a man how to raise a boy into a man.
Right.
That makes no sense on its own. So she's only there to stir the pot, because they know that that's going to get views, and which has us here now talking about it.
Right. And I'm gonna tell y'all,
but that goes back to Joe Budden, though. That shows you what type of man, in my opinion, Joe Budden is. If that's something that he's welcoming to bring on the chaos into the show when it's supposed to be a panel full of men.
Right.
People don't go there for the truth.
Women are going
more
to
entertaining.
Women consume men's products. Men don't consume women's products. Straight men don't watch, or they may watch an episode here or there or something, but women can have a podcast with all, like, let's say 4 or 5 women, a regular podcast. It can be a successful podcast. Men are not tuning into it. Very few men, gay men, may tune into it. Heterosexual men ain't gonna watch it regularly. They may watch it that they interview someone in particular or whatever, but women will tune into men's podcasts. Women like to hear men speak. Men don't necessarily like to hear women speak. I'm sexist, so maybe I'm speaking for myself. Y'all might,
There you go.
y'all might like this talk.
He's like, put it in the kitchen.
It makes sense, Will. It makes perfect sense. I got it now.
But I think y'all all sexist too. I just think y'all won't admit it, especially not on a public platform. Y'all think it's a man's job to protect?
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Then you sexist.
I think it's whoever's in position to protect can protect.
Then you sexist.
I've deployed with women who put bullets cross. Whoever can protect. Man, woman, whoever.
Do you think it's a man's job to provide?
A job to what?
Do you think it's a man's job to provide?
No.
So you think men and women?
I think men can provide.
No. Do you think men and women are equal?
In what? In what aspect? Give me some context.
Whatever aspect. I don't care. You pick.
They're equal human beings. Yeah, they are.
No, they're
equal.
not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Well,
Kenny P, he asked me what I thought, bro. He said what I thought.
Yeah, you put your forehead way up on the screen. You have to stay with your head.
Because again, I'm a MLK spiritual guy. I look at this stuff much differently. I'm just
sorry, my good brother. I didn't mean to offend.
No, you ain't offended. You know I love. But for real, here's why I say that real quick.
Well, last question for you. Then you can articulate your point. I'm gonna shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there anything that you assign to a man or a woman as far as a task?
I'm pretty sure there are, but I'm aware there is a prejudice and a bias to it.
Then you're
the
sexist.
Truth. Yeah, I'm a man, so the perception in which it's the perception in which I'm looking at it.
No. It's called when you're sexist when you assign a task or a responsibility to someone due to their sexual, like their gender. if I say boys are supposed to do X, that makes you sexist. It does. Look at the definition,
it
bro.
does. I don't see it that way.
I didn't make the word.
Because I look at intent. See, okay, maybe in word, but I'm
Yeah,
looking at intent.
technically word. Yeah.
Yeah, a sexist is a person who would use those words in attempt to lower. That's how I look at it in a sense.
But you're looking at it wrong. Do you think a boy should pull out the chair for a girl, or do you think the girl should pull out the chair for the boy?
I think you sit down when you need to sit down.
So you don't think anyone should be generously doing it?
Again, for me, I taught my daughters pull your chair. Like it's so there are these things that we've been taught in my mind. There's these things we've been taught mean certain things, but in essence don't get across the point we're trying to make. Like for me, I never taught my daughters about fearing this particular thing or that particular thing. What I taught them was how to move to communicate. Like I taught them the principles of protecting themselves. So they get to decide and be in any environment and have the safety and wherewithal to know if this shit is out of my girls this is their thing. You handle life based on what I taught you up to a 7. When shit hit a 7, I need a fucking phone call because it's out of your realm. We have a financial number. We have a medical thing. So when my youngest, she's 24, she's in college. I say, when your shit hits a 7 on your anxiety level of what you're experiencing in your life, then tap in.
Okay,
I've developed you. I've prepared you for this life. Right. They wear dresses and pants.
No, I'm saying, but you don't have no sons. If you have,
I don't have no son. I got one son because I have 2 grandboys, and I respect your point of the boy's dad is my underwing. I speak with him often. I talk to him. Yeah.
Would you ever encourage your grandsons to put on a dress?
No, I wouldn't encourage.
Why not?
Because of the ramifications that come with it.
If they equal, right? That's what I'm saying. When people are equal, they get to behave the same.
There's equal in theory and what is opposed into society. You just said it. You said some of you guys maybe this, but you
no problem with boys wearing dresses anymore.
Which that could be problematic in society, but I'm talking about in foundation in the home. We make social media truth. We say they show it on social media. They're showing it on social media, so it's true. No, what's happening in the home? That's true.
Wait, you already hold on real quick.
To me,
debunk what you said, because you gave a parameter that if stuff got escalated to a 7, a man would now have to be placed in that position to remedy the issue.
A father. A man, father. True. All right.
Okay, so now you just debunked the whole thing because a male had to take the lead when it became too much. So where's the equality?
The equality was every deployment I did. When she got to 7, her mama handled it. That's the equality. And my ex-wife handled it. That's why I still take care of her.
The dynamic that you gave was you.
Yeah, but Rob, I think the point that Will is trying to make with it is the expectation. You have an expectation of your daughter to not go past.
No, I have an agreement. It's not an expectation, Vix. It's an agreement. We've sat down and communicated how she deals with life and what I want for her in life. I understand she is living a different life. I've never been a girl.
But if she agrees to the agreement, it now becomes an expectation.
Yeah. Well, Viz, watch this. Rob, when it hits a 7, when she taps in, is she tapping into you or is she tapping into her mama?
She taps into me.
Okay, that's what makes you sexist. Because if it was equality, she could tap into her mama. Daddy, don't worry about it. I'm tapping into mommy. She got it. And then she go out there.
I think that would be just taken in the context of understanding the relationship and believing that there was an equal relationship with her.
No, that wouldn't be that. That would be you don't want to admit that you're sexist.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it if that makes me. But there's never. And again, what I meant by sexist is it won't come up in a preference where women in my presence will feel they can't be seen or heard. That's what I meant.
You're talking about it from a negative connotation.
That was it.
I kept understanding what you were saying, and I'm trying to get you to understand that just because that's how you internalize it, just because that's how you live out your life, doesn't mean you're not being sexist.
Okay,
because I'm pretty sure.
I can take that.
you would open the door for an old lady. You wouldn't expect that old lady to open the door for you.
Facts. Yeah.
Right.
You might not necessarily open the door for the old man. You might, because you might be ageism too. Not just right.
Oh, I opened at the post office the other day for the old homie who was limping in. But yeah,
Hey.
I get you.
Hey y'all, before we get up out of here, let me just run this clip of Nipsey, man, and ask you guys, do you think that he was masculine in this situation? And in general, how you guys felt about this? Just run through these 3 super chats. EKNA, $2, 5.K people watching. Let's get the likes up to 3K. I don't know how true that is. It's weird. But accountability partner $2 says she's a latchkey baby. It was very common because it was very common back then.
Back then.
Congo English, $20. White, Will, Hink, thank you. I want to thank everybody who's contributed thus far. Let me go ahead and run this clip.
Okay. You understand that? Okay. All right. So next time you do that, make sure your doors ain't unlocked. Make sure your phone ain't slipping. And you look.
So would you guys say he took the masculine approach?
Honestly, bro, for real, that's sad to watch because that's a PTSD reaction. That's straight what that is, man. That he said, when you jump out like this, you got to understand my lifestyle. So he done started replaying all the times niggas done jumped out at him. He almost lost his life, and he done focused and projected that into that moment. Them people caught him going through the shit he's been through for his whole life. That's a PTSD response. That's why he stayed in it so long. That's why he got even more hype as he went on. I know it because I lived it. Like a loud noise makes me flip, or used to at least. It make me flip. You getting too close to me in line, or have me asking you a question like, bro, can you slide? Just because that close proximity meant something different where I came from. So it's just sad to see that shit, man, that the homie, like, as gifted as he was and things that he was, that he suffered like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like he said, he's a celebrity at that point. People want pictures with him. He should have been enjoying that shit. And here he is still suffering from a oh, Will, my bad. Go ahead, Will.
Hey, Rob,
You can finish, bro. I'll go after you. But I'm definitely gonna push back on what you just said.
He's not no martyr. That's a proliferation of the problem. That's a choice. He grew up into that. His behavior, knowing that he's in the limelight, that didn't dictate because he's not trying to blur that line. As for I understand, I need to now code switch because I am now a brand and I have to represent myself. Truth be told, you think that male reporter and that female reporter, once he assessed the situation, was a threat to him?
No, that's why I said it was a PTSD response. He should have at that point left. That's the disease. That's the disorder, though.
Okay, PTS is being triggered automatically. Going into their vehicle, playing with their personal effects, going in the woman's bag, you lose me there.
Once you trigger, where do you go? Once you're triggered, you go left.
Wait.
That's what triggering is.
I don't get triggered and turn into a possible klepto. No.
He was
I'm not
in
not
his
running.
klepto. What he said, you don't like how this feel. He was trying to show invasion of privacy.
Okay, so that's not an invasion of privacy. When you're outside and they're taking pictures of you, that's public domain. You understand? So there's a blurred line, and he's wise enough because Artemis was very smart. Artemis used to put stereos and TVs and all type of electronics together, even though he was on that blue banner. He was a very intelligent individual that had one foot dipped in the street and one foot into music and other philanthropic things, even to the point of his demise when he fell from whatever gang thing that is, because that's still a question mark. But PTSD, I give you a piece of that. He's been known to rep his flag. is that something that could be considered masculine in the hood, in his hood, for his manner?
Yeah.
But as a man in this society that is trying to mirror something that should be reciprocated, no, because you don't want anyone banging those flags. You want to be philanthropic. You want to move away from something that is not good for you or healthy for the environment that you live in. Didn't you hear him say?
I
Let me
think
ask
that
y'all
it goes back to the first conversation we was having. That's how he communicates. It was to me, what I saw was him correcting them because they were invading his privacy. Yeah, he may be a celebrity. Yes, he may be in a public space, but there's still a way that you do things respectfully. And men are supposed to understand that. So even in the circumstance, Kenny, if you're a celebrity and I see you on the street, and the first thing I'll do is, oh shit, Kenneth P. Woo, is man, what the fuck you doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm a address you either the way that will or the way that humble dad will. It's gonna be two different approaches, and that depends on the person that it is. So with Nip being a 60 Crip, he gonna bang on him. Hey fam, hey, we don't do that around here. Respect what I am. Oh, you a celebrity, nigga? I'm a Crip before anything. Woo woo. He letting it be known that hey, you might be able to pull this on Sherm.
No,
but this
nigga, fuck that. Nah,
Damn,
bro.
sure.
Me
He said he
and
gonna
Nipsey
twirl
was from
your
the
hair.
same. We from the same neighborhood, bro. The same neighborhood. I went to Crenshaw High School. Nipsey actually was a friend of mine. Like, no, bro, that shit is out of pocket. But I do have an example that I would like to point out. So I'm on my way to the movies to see Captain America with my son. And it just so happened that Damon Wayans was right there outside of the theater, but Damon Wayans is one of my favorite comedians, but I still had to keep my composure as a man, even though I've watched Major Payne 1,000 fucking times. You know what I'm saying? Like I could,
everybody nod their head in
everybody,
unison.
bro. And it
Everybody
wasn't
needs to
no
be nodding
one
their
else. No one else was around. No one else was outside. It was just me and Damon looking at each other. Boom. And I said, hey, how you doing? How you doing, sir? I wasn't going to say, hey, Lil Sherm, man, hold up the camera, take a picture of me and Damon. No, bro. We still have to conduct ourselves as men. I have been in the studio with Nipsey at least 5 times as one of his biggest fans before, just because I'm from LA, before anyone knew of it, right? And then like we finished our project, he paid me, I'm in the studio, and then like I'm like, you know what, man, I'm gonna ask for a picture. And out of all of the times I seen him, only got one. I never record him in the studio rapping or doing this, doing that. I was like, you know what, now it's the perfect time. Business is handled. Okay, let's do it. And it wasn't because like, oh man, but he's a celebrity, so you should be able to do this and do that. I was like, nah, bro, he's a man first. You know what I'm saying? Before 60 Crip, before, because we live in gang culture. It's a totally different mentality than like how other people get down. It's like respect is first and foremost. I had a friend of mine from Brooklyn come to LA, and I was like, hey, bro, roll me up to Nip's studio, right? So he's sitting in a chair, the other guy sitting down, and I'm sitting in the chair, and then Nip walks in. Nipsey's eyes are bloodshot red. He looks pissed off. And my homeboy's like, oh shit, let me get up, let me get out this chair so he can sit down. He said, hey, no, homie, don't trip. It's just a chair. Sit down. So the same person that y'all will watch on that video would come inside of his own studio, being a celebrity, and still tell that man that you could still sit down in that chair in my studio because you were already there. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, we can't take the level of this man's disrespect and you know, on how he feels disrespected, on how he was raised, and his code of ethics and his values, and be like, damn, shame on him. Nah, bro, you don't go inside, you don't come in nobody's face with the camera. When I'm inside of clubs and people are recorded, taking pictures, I turn away the whole way. Like, I don't know you. I don't know who you gonna show this picture to. I swear to God, I'm like this. Nah, fuck that. I want people to, because I remember, bro, one time I went to a party and I'm just standing there enjoying myself.
Pose, bro.
Huh?
You hit him with the bad bitch pose.
Yeah, bro. However, whatever I gotta do, you know what I'm saying? Whatever I gotta do, bro. Because if somebody sees you somewhere, they start judging, they start saying shit like, oh man, Sherm at the party with these girls, and you know, coming up with whatever shit they have in their mind. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a time and place for everything. You have to respect every single person as a human being first, as a man first. Ask if you could record them. And if they say yes, go ahead. If they say no, don't do it.
But dude, you know what I see? That's why I'm about to give Rob and Kenny some major pushback, because I don't like how y'all not looking at this thing holistically. You know, people tell me how you take a holistic approach. Okay, so why don't y'all take a holistic approach? Who's in the wrong? Do y'all think Nipsey was in the wrong? Y'all want to call out the PTSD, or do y'all think the other two people were in the wrong as well?
Both.
Accountability on both parts. Yeah, I only spoke to Nipsey.
One person is responding to someone else's transgressions,
which is still your responsibility, though.
Right, but your
response is your responsibility.
If you step on my toe and I slap you with a bat,
yeah, that could be considering on how we accommodate. That could be considered aggressive force or more,
right,
or minimal force.
But
I always thought minimal force necessary to deter a threat.
Yeah, but we have to deter the bad behavior initially. We have to say, listen, get out that man's face.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's a celebrity. See, you're acting like him being a celebrity gives you permission to violate his personal space. Right. I'm not going to say privacy, because Kenny's right. You can take out a camera and record him legally. You didn't break the law. But when you get too close to him, and we don't know how close they were because we don't know when the conflict started. If you get too close to him, and he determines you are now someone I don't know, you can be acting as if you just want to take pictures and videos. You don't know what my life has been like. You don't know what I've been through. And I'm going to worry about the consequences later. Like he told them, I'll die for my respect. Go to jail is a whatever. And they're thinking, oh, we'll call the police. Baby girl, by the time the police get here, I would have already done what I'm going to do to you. So whatever consequences I face, you're going to face the consequences I decide that you're going to receive. I'm going to face the consequences someone else decides. And they may be lenient on me. It may not even be as bad as you think, but I'm going to do a number on you. So I think we should just be mindful and tell people, hey, don't let this celebrity world, social media world get it twisted. Don't make it feel like you're invincible and you could just be disrespectful, violate people's space, because people are going to respond however they respond, and you don't get to control how people respond.
I ain't got no pushback with that, Will.
I know, you know.
I just was speaking. Yeah, I was just speaking toward Nipsey. I'm a security guy. Like, of
I'm
course,
just giving y'all pushback.
Yeah, space is our
There's no
thing.
such thing as personal space.
It is a such thing as personal space. The hell is you talking about?
It's a concept. He's right.
Can I put my finger in your mouth, Kenny?
Wait a minute.
Can I put my finger in your damn mouth? Can I say shut up, nigga, and put my finger in your mouth?
You freaky.
Hey,
Yes
yo,
or no? Hold on.
Hey, Trev been holding it in
Yes
all
or
show,
no?
man. Yeah.
Can I put my finger in your mouth?
No.
Man, shout out to Nip, man. R.I.P. Nip.
Rest in peace.
I had the when I was transitioning into real estate, I had the marathon playing for a year and a half straight, just that one CD. That's all I was listening to for a year straight. When he hit him with, man, Joe, that's one of the saddest things watching him pass. I watched that and I understand
right there.
I beyond understand the perspective, because technically you're supposed to handle that a different way, right? But if you come from a different environment where you train to go, it's almost a switch you can't shut off and you struggle with. Like for me, I try and be overly respectful, overly nice, overly non-offensive, because I understand that if I can get to the point where no return, it could go bad for everyone. Or, you know what I'm saying? What never say my mind state, if I snap it, boost the crime rate. That shit hit different, you know, when you really, you know what I'm saying? And as much as, because from what I say, he always been respectful, and everybody, to Sharon's point, every interaction that he's, you know, he try to have with people. And some people don't understand it. Like, bro got a line, you crossed it, and you can't really dictate how somebody respond to disrespect. Like you said, you step on the toe, he might try and hit you with a back, or try and nuke you. Like, where the actual, let me press the atomic button. And especially people who don't want to have problems, they want to end everything. Like, I don't want to go back and forth with you. I don't want to get all right, we 0 to 10. And it is a PTSD response too, though, I believe, because when you grow up in the hood, it's fight or flight. And you learn early that you either gonna fight or get taken advantage of.
You gotta swing first.
And I think that's a byproduct of that. Shout out to my wife, because I've been in situations where for less and done more, right? And her face has been like a dialed back in this. Like I was talking about her face just, I'm not about to go into that, but her face has kept me dialed back, where I'll see the fear in her face, like, please don't do this right now. Please, just please don't. And then I could kind of like come back to reality. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. I get it. Yeah. R.I.P. Nip.
So how this is set up, right? People are going to do that, right? I think it's wrong. It's happened to me before, where people just put a camera up, and I'm like, oh shit, like I don't know you, right? But it's a way to respond to it. The dude definitely shouldn't have did it. The woman, whoever was filming, is out of pocket. I've run into celebrities sometimes, and I just leave them alone. I don't say nothing. I just let them be, because I understand it's a bunch of people in your face all the time, and you probably just don't want to be bothered, right? If you want some chill shit, you might have to approach me first, really, because I just leave them alone, man. It's not that deep. You know what I mean? Like, it's nobody who you should be fanning over that much, where you just feel like you need to do that, because it is. I do believe that there's a personal space, right? It's not like technically a line where that's drawn, but like when you're within a foot of somebody, like, and they can't really move, they have to say excuse me to go to where they're going, because you in a space. But I think that if you're a celebrity, right, once you know you're a recognizable face and you are a public figure, then you should do your best to train yourself on how to react. Just like Marcus just explained, he said you from a similar environment, but you like, all right, you make a conscious effort to know how to conduct yourself in public, because it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen, and you don't want to put yourself in crazy situations because of how somebody else is going to behave. And that's the biggest thing, right? You got family, you got children. You don't want to jeopardize any of that just because somebody is out of pocket that particular day. You can't let nobody knock you off your square. And that's what we're expected to do as men, right? We're all held accountable for our actions. So, I mean, I understand he was upset, but you still have to know how to conduct yourself in public. If you in public, you outside. He didn't like to ride around with a main security. You see, he just outside. He just out here. So if it's like that, then you have to know how to react to situations on your own. If you don't, have some people around you. Let them react to those situations. Let them be that buffer, right? It's just a certain way you have to know how to do things, because I'm sure that's not the first time somebody rolled up on them in the wrong way, but somebody just so happened to capture it. And now they got you looking crazy on there, and not everybody's going to understand it.
See, here's my pushback to you now, Trev. See, y'all. Okay, if we were talking about this video and we were just critiquing Nip, like what could Nip do to be better, to prevent, to protect himself, blah, 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 then I wouldn't have no problem with what y'all are saying. But we're talking about the situation. We can't look at a situation and focus our attention on one party and talk about how this person should have the wherewithal, the discipline, the be mindful. No, we have to talk about these are adults. These are not kids on the playground. These are 3 adults. 2 of them antagonized a third party person.
What?
So do you feel like I didn't just address? I'm pretty sure I addressed
doing a job.
I addressed the
Their
other 2
job,
adults first.
your job is to violate me. That's your job, and I'm
You
supposed
violated.
to take it.
You try to put your finger in my mouth would be a violation, freak boy.
Yo.
The other one
I ain't
is their
trying to,
job.
no. You ain't gonna paint no narrative. I ain't trying to put my finger in your mouth. I asked you. I was making a point because you said there ain't no such thing as personal space. So, nigga, there's a space inside the crevice of your mouth. And if somebody was to put their damn finger in it, would they be violating your space?
Hey, but all
so.
right. So Will, I've been with you this entire time, and I do agree with what you're saying. However, at the same time, I think that Nip is the perfect example for what it is that Trev is saying, because we could arguably say that Nip is no longer above ground because of that same mindset. So he potentially was not willing to do what it is that Trev is saying, and that now resulted to us not being able to experience him anymore. So I think, and I say that to say this. Nip is a specific archetype, right? And for him to have made that decision, he understands the consequences that comes with that, and which also is a part of manhood and masculinity, knowing that if this is who I am, and I know that at any point in time that I choose to respond this type of way, this is what also comes with it. I made my bed and I'm willing to lay in that motherfucker. So I think I agree to what it is that you're saying, because absolutely, hey, somebody got to check these square ass niggas that think that it's cool to walk up to you with a phone in your face, regardless if you're a celebrity or if you're not, regardless if you press or if you're just doing this for clout. Yet at the same time, if you got a child, you got a wife, you got a mama, you got all these people that's expecting for you to be here and to make these decisions for you to remain here and not put yourself in these positions, then we also have to acknowledge that as well.
2 things, Viz, and I understand the point you're coming from, but 2 things. So 1, yeah, let's say Nip's behavior ultimately led to his demise. We don't know, but we're just going to say that for the sake of this argument.
Right, just saying it just for the conversation.
That same behavior may have been what prolonged his life up to where we got to, because we don't know how many times the way he is may have saved his life.
True.
Now, we got to also take into consideration, he told you, I am a Crip first. So I have to be mindful. People know I'm a Crip. I can't just be lackadaisical and think everybody's a fan and everybody's just pulling out a phone. You might be pulling out a gun. You might be pulling out a switchblade. I don't know what you pulling out. And because of my PTSD, if y'all want to say he had PTSD, I'm saying be mindful. You're walking up to an ex-military person, an ex-convict, an ex-gang member, an ex-whatever, or a current whatever. You don't know who these people are, and you want to come, like Kenny say, do your job. Your job could get you into some serious shit.
Okay, well, after the first minute, he already assessed who they were.
So what?
Okay.
So what? Now he know there ain't no threat. Now he gonna stun him.
Yo,
now I'm a big bro. Now I'm gonna tell you why you violating me. Go ahead, Kenny.
Your chin hairs, man. Your chin hairs is disrespectful. So okay, so after the first minute, it's already established who they are. The sister had the phone, the brother had the camera. So now, after you establish who they are, give them the rules of how they violated, you further violate by going in their vehicle and showing that you truly gangster. You
I'm a
ruffle
Crip
up in a
first.
woman bag, you pull out
Yep,
her
I'm a Crip
Maybelline and her
first.
eyeliner. Stop, that's mine. How did that
I'm
make
a
you
Crip
feel?
first is what he told you.
Okay.
You want him to be a celebrity first. You want him to think about what he has to lose. He said, I am a Crip first.
Okay, that was a teachable moment. They
And I
weren't
just taught you something. And I just taught you. The man said that I'm a Crip first. So,
I did
Kenny,
hear that.
what do Crips do? Kenny, what do Crips do? See, you got to operate from the perspective of a Crip because he
You want me
told
to
you
answer
he
your
is a
question,
Crip.
or
Yeah,
you
go
want
ahead.
to keep
Go
on?
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so Crips, as I thought, if my
No,
history
don't
is
tell me
right,
what you think. Tell me what you do. Tell me what you know. Tell me
so
what they
now
do.
you're gonna police me as for how I
No.
answer you?
I ask you, what do Crips do? Not what do you think Crips do?
Okay,
Do
so
you know what
can
Crips
I
do?
answer how
If
I
you
feel?
don't know, then you can't
Can't answer
answer
how
it.
I feel?
No, I asked you, what do Crips do? I didn't ask Kenny,
Concepcion, that
hey,
name mean
Kenny, how
anything
do
to
you
you?
feel a Crip will handle this situation? Sir,
Concepcion mean anything to you?
can
Community
you brothers,
mean
can you
anything to you?
brothers translate for him? I asked him, what do Crips do? Not what does Kenny feel or what does Kenny think? If Kenny does not know, then Kenny is not qualified to answer this question.
You qualify because you got on a blue
No,
hat?
because I don't know what Crips do. I'm assuming a Crip gonna do what Nipsey did.
So
That's
how
what he
can you
did.
police?
He said he'll
How
Crip.
can you edify me and police me if you don't know what they do either?
Sir, Nip showed me what he did. He said, I am a Crip,
Does he
and then
speak?
he did what
Hey,
he
Sherm,
did.
does
I'm
Nip
going
speak
to
for
assume,
every Crip faction
Biz,
in LA?
going forward, if somebody tell me they a Crip first,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
ask
assume
somebody
they
who's
gonna
familiar
open
with
my
the
car
locale.
door, they gonna rummage through my belongings, they gonna feel entitled to do that. That's what I'm gonna assume.
SOD. Can I ask Sherm a question? Because that's his locale. So does Nipsey encapsulate every Crip faction in LA? Yes or no, sir? You're on mute, sir.
Nipsey encapsulates the code on how we move in LA. You know,
Okay.
so if those people would have came up to Nipsey and said, "Hey, Nipsey, man, I got a YouTube channel. I need some content, man. I wonder if I could interview you real quick, brother." He probably would be like, "For sure, homie, let's get it. What you want to talk about?" With no problem.
But it didn't
But
start
they
at
came
the
at
beginning.
him and you said what?
It didn't start at the beginning.
No, but you kind of know like where it came. You know, he's not just gonna get
No,
agitated
but
for
Kenny
somebody
don't
doing
know
something for no
either.
reason.
Kenny
I
don't know either.
Do you know the history of the Crips? I do.
Well, no, the way that he responded is the same way anybody that's affiliated in a street organization or anything is going to
Anywhere.
respond. They're going to all respond the same exact way.
Viz, I don't
The
disagree with you,
the
but he
lingo may
gave the
be
correction.
different.
You saw him giving the correction. True or not true, Viz? As for
He
what
definitely gave
was
the correction.
protocol. But
Right.
then after giving the correction, he decided to go cherry picking in her bag to make her feel a certain type of way.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Snatching up a phone and doing all of this after
Yeah.
you already edified them. That's a
No,
bit
it was
more.
basically, hold on, Kenny, I'll stop you right there. It was basically like, how would you feel if I did this to you and invaded your space? So
Right.
he was coming at it like, hey, I'm an OG out here. I'm a big homie. I'm going to teach you a lesson on what not to do to certain people because you might do it to somebody else and lose your life or get
Right.
your jaw tested or get fired on because the shit he did was light. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
big-
Like,
I would agree.
you know, me
Right.
growing
I
up
would
in
agree.
LA, he would have got beat up.
We
The
seen him
dude would
slap
have
the
got beat
security.
up. The dude would have got beat up, his camera stolen and his phone stolen and his pockets checked. That was light work, bro.
So while
Super
Kenny over
light.
here woofing, Nipsey slapped the hell out the other dude in front of the cops, right? So clearly, what Nipsey did to them was PG-13. So stop acting like, oh, you know, he slapped the hell out of that dude. Play the clip again for him, JR, please. He might need to get his memory refreshed what the dude could have done.
But that goes to my point. That was the archetype that Nip was.
Right in front of law enforcement, and you sitting here in something that was basically done in private, right? Because if it wasn't being recorded, it would have been done in private. What?
A dude look like you that got slapped.
But the dude, listen, all the dude, well, that's how it wasn't me. So listen, all the dude did, from what I gathered, is slap a cone. He pushed a cone, and I don't know.
Personal space, right? That was
right. But you said personal space don't exist, and I guarantee you. Listen, the palm of that hand felt that cheek.
Yeah, he had 60 crib first. I never disagreed on that.
Is that not how Chris behaves?
Personal space definitely exists, especially amongst men. Like that's another thing with masculinity, is understanding masculinity and manhood is understanding that every man has their own space. Just how they say when if you ever been incarcerated, right? They'll tell you, hey, I'm a man before anything. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know that, hey, the same way you a man, I'm a man too. So whatever it is that you willing to ride for, then it's mutual. So you already know what's gonna come with it. So we as men understand that there is 100% personal space, even with women. We let that be known with women. Hey, you can call me out my name, you can say whatever, but as soon as you start doing that finger pointing shit, hey, calm that down. Because I'm
Did you say
anything.
He said I wasn't in it for the hoes of the fame, nigga. I swear to God, I couldn't buy a bag of Lay's, nigga. And I'd rather be a sinner than a shame, nigga. So like that, I rationalized it in my brain, nigga. Even if I was a victim to the game, it was better than living life as a slave, nigga. Be right back. Had to turn myself into a paid nigga. I did dirt because I was climbing out the grave, nigga, to go straight and re-examine my ways. That was the concept. So now they telling me I'm next. But please, my nigga, don't take this out of context. All the nights I dealt with my stress, all the triple bunks while I slept, all the busted knuckles, all the smoking guns, and all the shit I did for my Nip was Joe.
He's a poet.
Man.
Can't take it away from him. I listened to his joint when I was in the gym. I'm like, I'm 50 some odd, but I could relate, and I'm listening. You could vividly imagine the story as he's speaking, and that's when you know you was a poet. I'm like, let me rewind this. Let me catch this double entendre. I'm like, that's tough. But nonetheless, you reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
If you read the transcripts, he called the man, what do you call shitty cuz?
A snitch.
A snitch. Then he come back with a red shirt. We don't know how many other bad actors you have in that. And the man ended his life off of that code.
So you make that bed you lay in.
What Kenny talking about?
The guy that unalived him.
Yeah, but I mean, look, bro. That could have probably happened 5 years sooner, 10 years sooner. We got to stop looking at it. I get it. We want to look at it like, if you would have changed this, if you would have changed that, you could. Tupac could still be here. Biggie could still be here. You know, nobody said that Big Pun because they talk about his weight. It was a weight thing. It wasn't the violence thing. But
what's the song? I'm gonna live.
It was the same thing, though, bro. It's what it all comes down to is them making decisions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's choices, right?
So the same way that Pac knew, yeah, I'm on top of my game. I ain't gotta stump this lame ass nigga out at this fight. I can let the homies do it.
But
I can let the little homies handle that.
And Viz, that wasn't even his job.
But PNB Rock didn't do none of that. PNB Rock didn't have those problems, and he still got met with the same fate.
That's different. That's different,
That's
bro.
violation.
All I'm saying, listen, I'm not
different, bro.
I'm not diminishing what y'all are saying.
That's
I'm not diminishing what y'all are saying. I'm just saying y'all not looking at it holistically. All
No,
I'm saying is
we definitely looking at it holistically, because
saying
any person in their right mind that's not chasing clout, in my opinion, no disrespect to PNB, rest in peace, the whole shebang. I'm from the streets. I know I'm not finna walk up into nobody crib that I don't know with a neck full of ice on, and I don't have no security. I don't have no pistol on me, nothing.
You and your chick.
That's an automatic no, bro. So
wait, we talk about the city of Los Angeles, though. Everybody do that in Los Angeles.
No,
it's not
everybody
like
walk around with ice around their neck and hot areas.
Come on, bro. Come on, Will. And that's why niggas are getting deleted in California.
I get it. I get it. Listen, I'm not diminishing what you're saying. What you're saying is valid, but what I'm adding to it that we just don't know. Like you can see a kid who's turning their life around and they meet their demise, and we're like, man, if only he would have turned his life around sooner. But what we don't know is because of the life he lived, living that life probably would have kept him alive. Sometimes trying to change your life is what gets you caught up. Sometimes trying to be like, man, I'm not going to treat everybody like they're an op. I'm going to go ahead and bop. That's when it happened. I'm not saying, listen, we don't know. Ain't none of us promised tomorrow. And although we can look at a situation, hindsight is 2020, critique it. I'm not saying you brothers are wrong. I wish Nip would have still been here to tell more of his stories, get more of his insight, and show his leadership that he was showing the rest of us that he has. But he not no more. And it's so easy. We could just say because of this and because of that, he should have did this, he should have did that. And I'm just saying, when we want to do like y'all talk about doing the right things, part of the right thing is not thinking that we have the answers because we see how it turned out. Part of it is like, man, maybe that was all the time God gave him. We just don't know. And I would hate to think like that. I'm just saying we gotta.
That's fair too. I would like to point out a story that damn, what's his name? Irv Gotti had shared on Drink Champs. And he was saying that it was him, Ja, Ashanti, Nas, they were on tour. And Irv and Ja, they're hooked on becoming martyrs. They want this street cred. And they like, man, hey, we gonna take the tour bus with the rolls hitched to the back of that motherfucker, and we gonna ride that bitch through the hood of New York. And Nas was like, man, I don't think we should do that, man. What if they shoot at it? And Irv out his own mouth said, nigga, we'll become martyrs. And he said, from that point on, Nas stopped fucking with him. So why is it that Nas, a rapper that come from Queens, right? He come from Queens, one of the toughest hoods, boroughs in New York. How was he still living? He's living because at some point he made that choice that, hey, this shit that I used to do, these niggas that I used to run with, I can't do that no more because I'm not that person no more.
But the difference
now
with
I'm gonna respond different. I'm gonna react different. I'm a move different. And if a person isn't able to make that decision, or if they can make that decision and understand the consequences that come with it, the same way that Irv said it, and he knew, man, what if they shoot at us? Nigga, we gonna be martyrs. That's exactly how he said it out his own mouth. Because he wanted that street cred.
Right. The difference with Nip never denounced being a Crip. He was still that thing. And he still understood what came with that life. See, the other guys were play gangsters, trying to act like tough. He was saying, "This is who I am. I'll
At
just
what point
happen
do you
to rap."
change, though, bro?
I don't know. I know gangs are supposed to be for life.
That's
It
that's
shouldn't be.
that's the point of my pushback. At one point, as a man, right? I understand, and I'm acknowledging the archetypes, but at one point, as a man, is it, you know what, my pride and my ego isn't worth the possibility of me no longer being here.
See,
I would like to interject and say one thing, because a lot of times we blame the victim themselves for dying, but I blame the person who actually pulled the trigger for killing the person that has died. You know, at the end of the day, they didn't have to do that. Whatever led to them dying, I mean, hey, Malcolm X, you know, all kind of, you know, Robert F. Kennedy, they could have did this. He could have went and got a snack instead of, you know, doing the speech, whatever. You know what I mean? That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, those people made the decision to take that person's life. And go ahead.
So Sherm, in the case of Melissa Ford, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it more on the plumber's decision, or is it more on the father's decision for even putting her in that position? And putting the plumber in that position?
I mean, at the end of the day, the plumber is the one that's doing the foul act, bro. So it has to go on
alleged foul act.
Yeah, whatever. You know, if it was, you know, if he did do it or not do it, at the end of the day, as many people on this panel said, they would have walked up to the house and said, "Oh, your parents aren't here. I'm about to leave." You would make a choice to leave. I think Trev said that. Yeah. So it's like,
no, you're not gonna make the choice to leave if you already there and she got the money. You're gonna just say, "Give me the money," then you're gonna leave. You're not gonna leave when you're there. You're not. I'm not gonna come all the way over here. You got the money. I knock on the door. I don't dictate who opens the door.
Right.
If I come to your house, unless you told me it was gonna be your daughter, I would have never agreed to go there. But if I'm coming, that's what I'm saying. We have her broken testimony. And we're basing everything off of the testimony of a deranged, delusional, emotionally PTSD having woman.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying
because in all honesty, there's a lot of stories where that happened. The guy did his thing, got the money from the little girl, and left.
Right. So
you know
I'm not saying she's lying, but I'm saying we don't know the details of this story. We just know the pictures she painted, and we're trying to dissect it from what she said. We see what we don't like.
She was just attacking men on the whole. She
Right,
wrote an
that's what I'm
obscure
saying. She
story,
got
an outlier from somewhere in the UK, that a man was drugging, and then you had different guys from different work sets and skills and so on and so forth. So now you're grouping in every man to an isolated incident. And
now y'all talking about plumbers on here, like damn. Now
plumbers, doctors,
because I chose this profession. Now I'm looked at as this creep.
Hey, Will, you know the plumber and the milkman always.
No, it was
always been the two careers.
It was the maintenance man, not the plumber. The maintenance man. It wasn't specified as plumber.
The plumber lays pipe, bro. Come on.
Something wrong with your plumber. Come over in gray sweatpants. Can't get him in the house. Don't let him in.
Yeah,
no, but Sherm, I do this for another topic, another day, because I know JR about to wrap this up. But I do think it's appropriate to blame victims. Victims are not always exempt from what happens to them. Sometimes victims are the cause of what happened to them. Sometimes the victim is the aggressor who just gets dealt with.
Then that's not a victim.
They're not a victim.
No, that's not a victim.
No. Anytime, if you get harmed where you lose your life, you're a victim, sir. I don't care if you're the aggressor or not. You're still the victim.
I mean, it could be self-defense is a victim.
I disagree terminology on that one. Yeah.
No, on paper, technically you're a victim. So let's say a dope boy is going to buy dope off a plug, and the plug, or vice versa, the dope boy off the plug. Whoever got off in that situation, on paper, is considered the victim.
Yes.
But I agree with the fellas. Technically, you're not a victim, but on paper, you're the victim.
Yeah, but we know the context on what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And hold on. Let me give you my example then, and this y'all well, shit, y'all can get mad anyway. Look,
don't say no rape shit, bro. Please.
I'm about to.
Golly.
I'm about to. Yeah, that's why I know y'all gonna get mad, right?
Hey,
mind you, I have daughters. When I think about the stuff that I say, I don't just say stuff for shock value like people may think I do. I don't. I stand 10 toes down. Look, I teach my daughters all the time. You cannot go do whatever you are a girl. You are a girl. You cannot just do what you want to do, dress how you want to dress, get intoxicated, be in the presence of people of the opposite sex. Something goes down and you say it was non-consensual. So women have this built-in defense that if a woman is drunk, they act like she can't consent. Okay, cool. Huh?
That's alcohol. It's impacts your judgment.
Cool. But what if he drunk too? So now his judgment needs to remain intact.
No, I don't agree with that part. No, I don't agree with that part.
Sir, you being drunk is no defense. It's no defense. If the guy is drunk and the girl is drunk and the girl say, I didn't consent to this, he going to jail. He can't say I was drunk too.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in theory, you sound right. In theory, it sounds right.
Well, I'm not saying.
How many girls are drinking? How many girls are drinking, getting drunk, and the guy just drinking water?
No, I get what you're saying, but there's a lot of things we say that logically make sense in a conversation that won't pass shit in a court of law.
I know.
Like that's
what
all
I'm saying. I still will blame a victim. I said, listen, don't put yourself in certain situations.
Now
Do
that
not
I
put
agree
yourself in certain situations and then try to use technicalities to get yourself out of it.
I mean, I think, but you are exactly right. And I would do the same thing as a parent. Even as a grown man, I take preventative measures on how I move depending on where I go and what I'm doing. Like I'm not going to go in the inner city with a red hat on and, all this, gang stuff and just walking around like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. But at the end of the day, I could go in all white and somebody come up to me and bang on me and test me and, whatever. You know what I mean? Because it's their choice to do that.
We wouldn't be saying you antagonize a situation or you contributed to a situation.
Yeah, it's less likely.
Right.
Contribute or antagonize.
I would, and this will probably extend the show, but I would like to open the door to the Kendra G conversation. In my opinion, old boy that was on the show, I don't see him as a victim. I feel as if he brought that very situation upon himself.
I'm not familiar.
He was irresponsible, but the woman crab-legged him. So
yeah,
you're not really supposed to do that.
I get that, but Trev, I'm pretty sure, and I said this the last time. I'm sure that all the fellas on this panel at some time had a chick crab-leg him.
What's that?
And it was like, okay, I know that this is a possibility.
It happens.
So, hey, if
what's
this
thing
is
is
good,
like squeeze her legs like this and say no.
Yeah.
No. Where she wrap her legs around you so you can't get up when you about to.
You can't get up. You can't shake her off.
When you about to go.
Clench.
Hey,
but you on top of her. You a missionary. You thrusting yourself to this limit.
Some girls squat like crazy.
Yeah, you trust me. Them crab legs be crazy. You got to do an emergency move.
You gotta
know. If you talking like that, you have crab legs regularly. Like that's like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, bro.
It's about like 9.
I thought it was once in a lifetime. You having that shit happen 3-4 times a week?
Nah, somebody tried to do that to me back in the day. I had to give them the Vulcan neck pinch and shit, but it was all good.
don't say that. Don't say that. KDP gonna hold them words against you forever. Don't say that.
Well, you got smoke for saying
I wasn't always responsible. I keep a G with that. I believe me.
You just got
I've
off
made
of that
some horrible decisions that I've learned from back in the day. So,
yeah,
hey, what's the Kendra G situation y'all talking about? We don't got to talk about it on here. I'm just curious of what it is.
Man,
she a bird. So
basically, in short, go ahead.
Go ahead, Trev. You.
In short, it was a guy. He came on there to date. It was his second appearance. He was talking about a situation because he said he had a child or whatever. She's like, why are you not with them? He didn't really want to be with the woman. He said that he was SA'd. He felt like he was SA'd because she crab-legged him where he was not supposed to bust. The plan was for him to do the withdrawal method, but she crab-legged him. You know what I mean? She timed it and she got him. And then she was in illegal. She was trying to get citizenship. So
now,
Will,
here's the part for me though that separates it is that he was. This wasn't the first time that he shot the club up with her. He was convinced that just like all the other times, his exact words, that she was going to take a plan B. So he felt that he was SA'd or however, because he didn't actually say it. And that was the other part for me as well. He didn't actually say or admit to it.
He froze up.
Oh, I thought he was.
Shit.
That was a dramatic pause.
It seemed dramatic.
Wake up.
I thought he had a brain fart.
Oh, okay. Now I'm about to say something y'all not gonna agree with. I'm trolling though. I'm trolling just so y'all know. I mean, I agree with him. He was SA'd. You know why I agree with him? Because boys can now be girls and girls can now be boys. So anything.
Here you go.
Listen.
I don't agree with him.
I would say, listen. I would say yes, you're right, because if a man would have did it, they call that stealthing, right? And
what's stealthing?
All right, so
I'm stupid, man. I don't know.
A dude could sit here and slip the jammy off or whatever, right? And then he gets you knocked up, and you will be charged for it.
Okay, yeah, no, that happens. I didn't know that was called stealth.
Yeah. So they would do that, and they would be considered SA. So guess what? If that is, so is that other part, right?
That's considered SA?
Stealthing, yeah, for sure.
How is that SA?
Because they didn't consent to you stealthing. You were supposed to have a jammy on.
Well, let's say broke.
Because you put them at.
So if it break, is that still considered SA?
No. If you got a rim. If you got nothing but a rim left, then you're fine. But if you did it intentionally,
prove, all a dude got to do is say it broke. Like, who can prove that you pulled? Wait, what?
And the court is based on what the perception of the jury will believe about each individual that's being put up.
That's exactly how it will go.
Yeah, that's honestly, and this is personal experience. I'll tell you, the reason I am the way that I am, we're always looking at myself first, is because my last one night stand almost ruined my entire life. And so the 9.5 months that I sat in a military jail to get my life back, but I did get it back. No, all the bills and whistles, that all came back. But in that 9.5 months, what happened was, what I realized was, oh, no, this ain't her fault for lying. Where I'm at is my fault because I was the type nigga that can have sex with somebody and not even know their name.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got jammed. Now, in her response, she went home, her husband ended up finding out, and it blew up, and she said what happened. Yeah, that part. But if I wasn't the type, that the insecurity, the hole I was feeling, I was coming out of divorce. I'm trying to still show you, Will, I got it. So I'm pulling up to the club like I'm gonna pull something. I pull this, I pull that. I show you, salute you, you see me, I'm hype, and now I'm about to lose my fucking life trying to show you. And so my thing was, if I wasn't in that kind of mindset, I never would have been in that situation. So it wouldn't have been anything for nobody to lie about. That's why I always look at me first. I get other people be fucking up. I'm not losing their responsibility, but I always start the conversation from where I fucked up for me, because I'm all I can control.
And that's what you should do. And that's the right thing to do. But we, as the outside looking in, we should expect you to do just that. And then we turn our attention and be like, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. We don't cut her loose.
I'll do it in impact other ways.
Whoa.
I do it in impact in other ways.
Whoa, she was a married woman.
Can't agree with you on that one, bro.
She was a married woman sleeping with another man, and she ain't in the wrong.
Well, I'm saying, of course she's in the wrong, right? Without a doubt. But at what point as a man do you draw the boundary?
We did already. We said we will tell him he did exactly what he's supposed to do. Hold himself accountable. We will look at him and be like, you shouldn't have been doing what you're doing. Now, after we scold him, we turn our head and say, you dirty, rotten scoundrel, because she's not exempt. She is not innocent. Y'all gotta stop this false bravado, masculine, hold men accountable to everything and let these let these women run rampant out here.
No, bro, but no, Will, you said it right though. If they're hoes is gonna do what hoes gonna do.
No, she's a married woman.
It don't matter. It
does matter. No, listen. Listen, it don't matter. So y'all telling me nothing should happen to her?
Will, nobody said that. Keep it a buck here.
I'm asking.
So should something happen to her? Sure. Whatever comes of that.
So where we disagree at then? Because I said
I disagree with what he did wrong. Like, so you have that woman put you.
So it was okay for Rob to lay with this married woman.
No, I said,
no, that's not cool.
Him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Marcus. That's what I'm saying.
No, I did. I didn't even know. I didn't know her last name. My point was, my error was, if I get to the point again, understanding. I am a man too. I understand these things are happening, but I'm thinking they won't happen to me. I'm thinking I'm exempt.
You accountable first, Rob?
Yeah. No, I was answering Marcus. No, I was asking Marcus.
I'm telling Viz. I said the first thing we do is we hold Rob accountable. And I'm glad he's holding. I said, Rob, the best thing you do is hold yourself accountable. And we should too. Look at you like, you ain't got no business doing what you're doing. But after we deal with him, after we scold him, I said we then turn our head and be like, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. She don't get off the hook.
But I'm saying, Will, I'm saying no. I'm not saying that she's off the hook, but I'm saying if she's a hoe, why a hoe is gonna do what hoe do?
And hoes need to be held accountable too.
Why? I don't think a single man having consensual sex with a woman should be a crime, or even I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased.
No, Marcus. The only time I'm saying hold him accountable is for his recklessness.
Yes,
like, bro, stop being reckless. Yes. I don't think you should go to jail for that.
That's 100%.
Did you wear a condom? Did you wear a condom?
Did you?
Oh yeah,
come on, man. Come on, man.
Y'all ain't listening. I was telling y'all I had a different life, man. I was
don't explain to them. They clearly biased. My man.
I was super reckless, bro.
Will, hold on.
Like you taking out lot lizards.
Did you know that she was married?
No, like I said, no, I didn't know anything about it. Okay. It was just some courting throughout the night, and
he saw her. She was somewhere she shouldn't have been as a married woman. She was entertaining a man that ain't her husband. Whether she a hoe or she ain't a hoe, she behaving like a hoe, so she automatically a hoe. So now that she's a hoe and we all agree she a hoe, are y'all saying she should be held exempt because she's technically a hoe?
Well, you know what, Will, I'm gonna troll you. I'm gonna troll you. No, we just saying she's a 60s Crip. If a 60 Crip can flip, because I know they're a 60 Crip, then a hoe should be able to do what a hoe do when she do.
No, sir. Because watch this. I never said being a 60 Crip had no accountability. I never said that he couldn't be punished for what he's doing. You just got to understand that's what a 60 Crip do, and a 60 Crip can still go to jail or get murked. And guess what? She being a hoe, she can still go to jail or get murked.
Well,
guess what?
You playing
if you had a
basketball
wife,
with that thing moving, Will.
no,
You
no, no,
playing
that ain't moving
basketball in
nothing.
that goal that's
Whoa,
moving, Will.
whoa, sir. We was talking to Kenny about how 60 Chris behave. We
Yeah,
never
okay.
talked about them being held accountable.
I like how you tweak words.
What did I tweak? See, niggas don't be listening. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying niggas. People don't be listening. We was talking about the behavior of a Crip. We was not talking about accountability. We're talking about the accountability of a hoe. We're not talking about the behavior of a hoe. If y'all want to talk about the behavior of a hoe, I would expect a hoe to do just what she did, and I would not be surprised if she did what she did. But that don't mean her going to step out on her husband. Hold on, step out on her husband and then trying to ruin another man's life. Whatever transgressions happen, guess what? She was being a hoe. We should overlook it. Like, no, you was being a hoe. We can't sit here and take.
Nobody up here says she should go exempt.
Listen,
no one said that.
Did she make a false accusation, or you just got in tricky stuff?
You don't get to ruin a man's life when she consensually laid down with a man. Because check this out.
But
when women lay down with y'all, look, when we lay down with women, has there ever been a woman that told any of y'all, it's never happened to me, so y'all tell me if it's ever happened to y'all, where she laid out the ground rules of what you couldn't do? So how do you know what you can and what you can't do?
Wait, hold on. Wait, what you mean? What you mean?
I'm speaking very plain English. Don't be like those women the other day. Look,
I'm just getting clarity.
You ask for clarity.
I'm just getting clarity before I say no.
Have you ever did the do with the woman, and prior to doing the do, she laid out the ground rules of what you could not do with her?
Yeah, don't come in my hair. I didn't been told don't come in my hair.
Wait, Marcus, she did that before y'all started? Or when you was about to shoot in her face, she said, "Don't come in my hair."
I've had a
She was about to shoot in her face.
So the question again, I'm speaking plain English, gentlemen.
No, you
has
ain't.
there ever been a woman that laid out the ground rules of what you could not do prior to the sexual activity taking place?
Yeah.
What did she say to you?
No kissing. Strap up, of course.
You was dealing with a prostitute?
No, it wasn't a prostitute.
Man, what woman telling you can't kiss her, man?
It was.
Now some females.
Come on, man. It was a one night go. So Rob, you was kissing the chick on the one night?
Nah, it wasn't no kissing.
Well,
But it wasn't talked about.
Okay, then.
It wasn't talked about.
He was like, hot potato.
Hey, JR, man. Hey,
wait,
Will. Hey, Vince the Black, man. Who said no kissing?
Will, you gonna get me in trouble on this bullshit too.
Will done stir some shit up, bro.
Wait, so you never had a one night stand?
Hey, man, don't put my business on the street.
Man, come on.
Wait. You can't be asking penetrating questions if you ain't answering them.
I didn't ask you no incriminating questions. I just asked you if a woman, I said, has a woman ever laid out any ground rules before y'all did the do? I didn't ask y'all nothing about y'all one night stands or if y'all been with a man or nothing like that.
But you did ask him what? I mean, like you did at the answer, you said, what was the rules that was laid out?
What did she say?
Huh?
You said what was the conversation? That's what you had.
Yeah, just what was the? I'm not asking you if it was a one night stand. I'm not asking you if it was a woman you was in a relationship with. I just asked you, has a woman ever laid out ground rules of what you could not do to her?
That's fair.
It don't be a bunch of ground rules, but it'd be like one rule or some shit. You know what I mean?
What's the rule you heard? Because I've never had no one tell me.
Don't break it.
Don't break it.
Don't
tell nobody.
Don't shoot the club up.
You acting real green right now.
Don't pull my weave. I just put it in.
I'm asking y'all this for a reason. See, I was building up to something. So because here's what I've heard. to me, hey, choke. Well, I'm not doing that. Like in the middle of it, right? I don't do certain things, but I hear dudes, girls love it. Girls love asphyxiating, I guess. I don't understand it.
That's a thing now, yeah, for sure.
It is a thing, right? But
it's been a thing.
But what I'm saying is, if a guy is used to doing that with women, and then he gets with a woman and he does it to her and she doesn't like it, they didn't talk about these ground rules. That's why one night stands are dangerous. You in a one night stand, and that's why I'm saying she is just as accountable, because maybe. I mean, he said he didn't want no protection. You know, we ain't judging. What they say, we listen, we don't judge. Ain't that what the ladies say?
No,
so
man,
we gonna implement that for just one moment right here.
We should judge, because I judge myself on it. We should judge.
Not raw dog. One night stand.
You're right. That's the recklessness.
But if a woman is letting you raw dog her on a one night stand, they're both being extremely reckless.
I agree. 1,000%.
Will you ever raw dog something?
Why are you asking me my personal business?
Because you ask everybody their personal business.
I didn't ask nobody their personal business. Did I ask any of y'all personal business?
Be accountable.
Hold on. Did I ask any one of y'all any of y'all personal business?
Hey, yo, Will, we ain't gonna tell nobody. Just say it.
You did just ask everybody if anyone laid ground rules. That's
not personal business.
It is.
Somebody
might not want to tell
you some crazy shit.
Yeah.
No, Will, you doing what the women was doing, bro.
What's that?
You ignoring the question. You
Oh no, I purposely said I wasn't answering the question. I didn't ignore the question. I told him I wasn't answering it.
He said, I can ask you what I want to ask you, but how dare you ask me a question?
I respect that.
Hey, hold on. Kenny, I tell people all the time, I didn't do it today. Sorry, gentlemen. I always say, hey, if you don't want to answer none of my questions, don't answer.
You don't have to. Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. I'm going to make up my own opinion anyway. So, Kenny, make up your own opinion. You think I've had a one night stand, Kenny?
3 or 4 lemons in your lifetime. You sell used cars back in the day?
Kenny, do you think I've had a one night stand?
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then go from that narrative. Go from that narrative.
Nah, I would like for you to tell it. And you know.
So Will, you tongue down everything that you hit.
What kind of trap question is that?
I think that's the time
Hey,
to check out
we're
here.
just gonna make up what we want. We're gonna say
Biz,
we're gonna say yes.
That's what it sounds like.
Finger.
Right. Hey, right.
Yeah.
Street nasty. Like,
that was all about us. No such thing as personal space.
Fingers and mouths. Whatever else.
We're gonna run with that till the wheels fall off. People like, just open your mouth.
We're gonna call him Goldfinger from now on.
Will definitely got some pictures in the strip club. Going crazy.
I'm not a fan of the strip club.
You down in Georgia too?
ATL, baby.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely.
You never been in none down there?
Oh, I've been to the strip club, yeah. I'm not a fan of the strip club.
What part of Atlanta you in, Will?
Magic City, huh?
What part of Atlanta you in?
Man, you think you know how many enemies I got in Atlanta?
Well, I'm asking because
Hold on. People on YouTube throw that PTSD crap around way too much. Everyone, YouTube is a trained therapist. Hink, so it's a great show, JR. Appreciate you, Hink. Big and $11, $10 as well. Argues just like Melissa Ford argued in that video. Can someone else complete their sentences down? I want to thank everybody that has contributed and tune in tonight. Catch us next Tuesday. Going live tomorrow for the Wednesday show. See y'all tomorrow. We out.
Yep.